great to see, a black baseball player do something. You know what I mean? It had been so long.
It was so much fun to watch that.
And it was just fun to watch it, period. But I'm just saying, I would love to see more black kids play baseball. And so seeing him have that degree of success, that's all I'm saying. I'm not, let's not get it too out of control. But yeah, man, it was a great All-Star. I was actually in the city a couple of days before the All-Star game. And it's funny. So I don't have my phone with me, but I was on the train, right? I was on the Broad Street line. And on one of the things, it says, like the little signs on the train, it said no Mets fans, no food on the train, no drinking on the train, just kidding. And then it pointed back up to the no Mets fans and it said not really. You gotta
That's great. That's great. No, it was a fun All-Star week. I mean, the game was a little bit boring. It was 4-0. All 3 of the 4 runs were scored in the first inning. But you're right, Jordan Walker. I thought the home run derby was great. And then the All-Star game, they did a little dreams and nightmares for the intro with Miles Teller. And then I thought the Sandlot thing, I was talking to Corey about yesterday. He had never seen the Sandlot. Have you seen the Sandlot?
So the guy doesn't like Prince or Michael Jackson.
Right.
Never seen this.
We got problems with Corey.
What do they have going on in Illinois, man?
He had never seen the Sandlot, and I'm like, man, that the little tribute that they did with the kids on the bikes and the fireworks and America the Beautiful, it was awesome. And I immediately turned on the Sandlot after that. I couldn't believe that he hadn't seen it, but no, that was it was a good All-Star week. Excited for baseball to get going again. I got to ask Parker TD, did anyone watch the ESPYs last night?
No. You know what? I binge watched the quarterback.
Okay, good, because we are going to talk about that coming up here. But they open. I did not watch it. I saw.
I
this
didn't
on
watch
Twitter.
a second.
They opened the show with the Savannah Bananas singing a song.
Are you serious?
If I was watching it, I would have turned it off immediately. I could not believe that. And then they had the guy hosting was the SNL Domingo guy. I don't know if you ever seen
Marcelo
that
Hernandez.
Yeah, that
no,
guy.
I actually like him. He's funny.
I think he's fine. I listened to I saw bits and pieces of his monologue on Twitter. It seemed okay. I thought Shane Gillis was better last year, but I am not a huge ESPYs fan. I just could not believe that they opened the show with the Savannah Bananas singing a song.
I want to go to an ESPYs, man. I want to go. This year I didn't really have plans, but last year I was looking to make it happen, but some things just kind of fell through. But nevertheless, I want to go. Like, I love LA though, just like being out, the vibe, the energy, and then to be out there for an event, that's got to be a dope feeling.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a fun time for everybody there. It's just like the awards that they're giving out, like most of them don't interest me. They're great moments. Like, of course, you look back, like when Stuart Scott was given his Lifetime Achievement Award and he gave the speech. So that's a great moment from the ESPYs. Jimmy V, of course. But, it seems like they're few and far between based on what year it is. So,
well, apparently Jason Collins' brother, who passed away.
Right.
Apparently he gave an awesome speech.
I might have to go back and look at that. So I did not see much from the ESPYs, but that came across my Twitter this week or this morning of the Savannah Bananas performance. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We got an early call today. Dustin from Hopkinsville has called in. Dustin, thanks for calling. What you got for us?
Well, thank you for having me on. And I did clear it with Parker because I have an all beef with the first show on all beef hot dogs. Okay, first of all, ketchup absolutely belongs.
Oh, hell no.
No.
Hell
You're
no.
wrong, Dustin.
Hey, hold up. An adult at some point put the ketchup on theirs and their children's hot dogs. Next, we have a man who claims to have gout and talking about Joey Chestnut not having gout and all these food eating contest eaters not having gout. It takes a little bit of that. Get off the dang couch, okay? It may help you release some of that acid.
Well, Rexroad plays a lot of basketball. He's not on the couch.
He's a hooper.
Now, I can play a lot of basketball. Do I move up and down half the court or the whole court?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Quick, guys. You got to spell it out quick. All right. Next, Nash Dogs. We have been having the show there. I'm going to call and say, hey, is ketchup on the table at your hot dog facility? All right, and that is going to settle it. And I'm going to ask Nash Dogs and other hot dog stands, does ketchup go on the hot dog?
No, listen. Just because people do it doesn't mean it's kosher. So Nash Dogs, they'll probably offer it. They'll probably offer it because we got people like yourself who have, are on the dark side, and you're actually double on the dark side because you eat hot dogs and you put ketchup on
if I'm in, I'm all in, man.
I don't eat hot dogs.
You don't do hot dogs at all.
No, I'm not a follower.
Hey, man.
You can't eat a hot dog at a baseball game?
Listen, you're not putting 93 in this machine. I mean, 87. You got to put 93 in here, man.
I guess that.
I'm a
but
high
if you're
octane
like treating
vehicle.
yourself, though, right?
No,
Like,
I don't treat myself.
I love you saying that with the honey
One
bun.
last-
I know. I'm thinking that.
Listen, one last thing. You know what makes something right?
What's
The
that?
majority. 51% or 50 and 0.0001.
You think it's 50? You think it's over 50% hot ketchup on hot
We
dogs?
might need a poll on this.
The ketchup is on the table.
Oh, it's on the table.
Right.
It's on the table, but it's just on my table.
Not
it's getting
everywhere.
thrown off.
Yeah.
It's not on the table everywhere.
We're gonna have to have this question at the next Nash Dogs meeting when y'all are there doing the show, and that will have to settle it. You have to ask the owner, put him on the spot. It's his to hold. I hope he's listening now. Sorry, man, it's on you.
He's going to say
for the call,
ketchup
Dustin.
because he wants to, you want to appease everybody.
Yeah, well, and you make a good point that every place that serves hot dogs is going to offer ketchup because they know some people do like it. That doesn't mean that it belongs on the hot dog.
That's just like
not everywhere.
You got pizza shops that offer ham and pineapples on the pizza.
That doesn't mean it
that
belongs.
doesn't make it right.
Like, I'm going to Chicago next week. If they don't even serve ketchup in hot dog places, and if you ask for ketchup, you'll get cursed out.
Yeah. No, it's true. But shout out Nash Dogs. Very good. They brought in
Nash
food for
Dogs
us
is
a few
really
weeks ago.
Oh, really?
It was awesome.
Did they have
Shout
more
out.
than dogs?
They had
They had
dog.
chili.
Yeah, they had chili too. It was good.
Gotcha.
It was
I
good.
tell you what, back home, Philly Pretzel Company, let me tell you something. That's the last time I ate a hot dog. Because they take the hot dog and they put a slice of cheese around it and stuff it in a pretzel.
You can't beat that, right?
You don't need ketchup on that.
A pretzel dog is great.
Yeah. Dustin, you don't need ketchup on that. But some hot mustard is good.
See, I'm not a big ketchup on a hot dog guy. I love onions on my hot dog.
Yeah,
that's what I usually go with. I will only have hot dogs at baseball games.
Really?
I can't remember. Well, actually, that's not true. There's sometimes when it's like you might be out and find a hot dog stand or something like that. But most of the time, the only hot dogs I have are at baseball games because there's just something about, going to a Sounds game, have a hot dog and a beer. Like there's something American about
some
it.
peanuts, man.
615-737-1025 is the phone number. Dustin reminded me of this. He said he had a problem with the show. We were talking about the home run derby. Robbie and Rex rode yesterday with PK. PK said he hated that the home run derby had a winner that no one had ever heard of before. Jordan Walker leads the league in RBIs. Joe Rexrode was trying to prove a point that people know who he is. And he goes, what's his name? Jake Waters. Didn't know what his name was.
Know.
So 4312 was texting in about that yesterday and wanted us to bring it up. But but not a great take from Robbie and Rex Road on baseball. 615-737-1025. Before we get into quarterback, World Cup final is set. Spain, Argentina. Lionel Messi just waits until the last possible moment to win these games. I saw that they have not gone into stoppage time. They've reached the 90th minute in all 4 of their knockout games without the lead, and they have won all of them. They have either been tied or losing heading into stoppage time in every game, and they have found a way to win. So
find a way, man. That's what you got to do.
Have you seen the picture of Lionel Messi bathing a newborn Lamine Yamal that's been circulating?
It literally is on my timeline.
I thought
right
that
now.
was AI. Crazy. I guess Lamine Yamal's family won a contest to be in an ad campaign with Lionel Messi when he was a baby, and now they're facing off in a World Cup final 19 years later.
How about it?
Insane. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We'd love to hear from you, as always, at 10 a.m. Your chance to talk to TD. So get your questions in at 615-737-1025. Quickly, before we go to break, Steve wants to chime in on the hot dog debate, I believe. Steve, thanks for calling. Go ahead.
Hey, man. Hey, you guys are funny, man. Detroit is where we might not have the original, but we got the best. Coney Island will not put ketchup on your hot dog.
Yeah.
And then the guy who answers the phone says, well, they didn't originate it. Well, that's fine. But we got all the pizza places. Every pizza you order is from Detroit. Little Caesars, Domino's, Jets, and your honey baked ham that you get every Easter and Christmas is from Detroit. So that we got the best hot dog. We got the best Coney Islands. I can't wait. I tried to bring one here years ago, but probably now that I'm thinking about going to Detroit next Thursday for our TSU Detroit reunion.
Oh, that's dope.
And I'm gonna bring this up to the guys. We need to put a Coney Island right here in Nashville.
Are you familiar with Coney Island?
So
dog?
I went up to Detroit and I only had a couple of days and I didn't get a Coney Island dog. I wanted to though.
They said that's, again, I don't eat hot dogs, but they said like those are premier.
I prioritized Buddy's Pizza, trying the Detroit style pizza instead of the Coney Island dog. But next time I go up there, I will be trying it.
Yeah, shout out Detroit, man.
They have the casings on them. That's
right.
What the difference is. It has the snap when you bite it.
Right.
Almost like a hot sausage.
That's what I was trying to introduce to Nashville. You have to have the snap. I was going to have them brought here, and the price got too much, and it just got too much. Anyway, that's another story.
You know what? Actually, DM me, man. I want to talk to you about that.
Okay.
Real rap.
Is that Ramon?
No. You got the wrong show, boss. Now, see, everything was all good just a moment ago.
well,
now you got the wrong show, boss.
I listened to both. Come on now.
Okay.
Yeah, you're going back and forth. You might.
This is TD you talking to. All right. Okay. So don't DM Ramon, because Ramon didn't come to you about a business idea. I'm coming to you. So holla at me.
I will reach out to you.
All right, for sure.
Thank you for the call, Steve. Appreciate it. 615-737-1025. What a way to start the show. We are going to get into quarterback coming up next. We've been doing our quarterback book club. We've done 2 episodes a day. Did you watch the whole thing?
I did watch the whole thing.
Okay.
I watched 3 episodes.
All right, we will. We're going to get into episodes 3 and 4 coming up next because there were some big things in there. The "we ask" comment was talked about. TD's tweet actually ended up on the screen in episode 3, and then in episode 4, it's Brian Callahan being fired. So we'll get into some of that with Cam Ward. We'll get into some of the other storylines for Joe Flacco, Baker Mayfield, Jaden Daniels as well here in this first hour. And again, your chance to talk to TD coming up at 10 a.m. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker Kelly. Next man up here on 102.5 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker, Kelly alongside you. TD's appearance with us for the full show, brought to you by Bart Durham Injury Law. Let's get into quarterback here. We watched episodes 3 and 4 last night, although Parker might owe us some push-ups. He did not finish episode 4.
Oh, yeah.
I did have some other things going on. I did start episode 4.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
I did start episode 4.
And with episode 4, the funniest part of it is the biggest moment in the Titan season is Brian Callahan getting fired. Like, that was the most important event that happened during the season, and they spent 2 minutes on it to start episode 4, and then came back to it, and Cam and his girlfriend had kind of like an awkward conversation about what it was like when Callahan got fired, and that was it. That was the whole conversation about it. Cam's just like, yeah, I walked into the building, and Callie came up to me and said, good luck.
Could you imagine that conversation? Hey, man, good luck.
Good luck. Yeah.
But the funny thing is, Cam knew right away. He was like, oh, they fired you?
Yeah, he was like, oh, they fired you? Yeah, so Cam Ward in episodes 3 and 4. The one thing I was able to pull early on in episode 3 was the pick 6 against the Colts. And he actually talked about it with Callahan later on of, yeah, it's good to be able to find your check down, but you got to actually see him open before you throw it. But you
got to feel that defender coming down.
I did love the short memory from Cam Ward of he's on the sideline warming up and he's talking to the equipment guy, and he's saying, hey, I told you that was the ball that I liked. Let them keep that one. He was like, let them keep that one that they had the pick 6 on. I'll be good with it with these ones. So I did like the short memory because Will Levis, when he was struggling, making mistakes, it felt like he was dwelling in those and he was trying to make up for it. It's like, oh, I made the mistake. Now I've got to go do even more. It seems like Cam Ward was able to brush it off, and yeah, they lost the game, but he was able to not let it spiral out of control.
Yeah, and I think that's a good example of the difference between the two, because don't get it twisted, Will Levis is immensely talented. You look at him, I never forget it, man. Chris Sanders and I saw him for the first time at rookie minicamp, and I tapped Chris's shoulder and I said, man, if God were to make a quarterback,
he looked like that.
That's what it would look like. You know what I mean? So the difference is that mental part of it. And Will Levis has this thing where he's so bent on pleasing others. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it makes him hold on to those mistakes. You know what I mean? And make those same mistakes in some cases twice.
Yeah.
Whereas what you see with Ward is he just has that FU mindset and approach. And so it's like, hey, I messed up. So what? I'm going to prove myself right on this drive. You know,
right.
And I think that's really what it is.
And you also saw in the next week the "we ask" comment, which that obviously made the rounds. They showed all of the national shows talking about Cam Ward. Again, your tweet made it up on screen about what Cam Ward said. And I got to say, Cam Ward didn't seem all that apologetic about it when they asked him about it. He said, I meant what I said, and I'm not going to hold anything back. In that moment, that's how I was feeling. And I do think that if Cam Ward could go back, I think he might have approached it in a different way than saying those exact words. But
I think he'd have said it again.
You think he'd say it again? I think he would have said something similar. I don't know if he would have said the exact, if we're keeping it a buck, we ask. But I do think that that's just his personality. And it seemed like we only heard from Elikiah Manor in the documentary about that comment, but it seemed like
Simmons touched on it.
Oh, Simmons touched on it.
He was like, I don't understand why everybody was mad.
Right. It seemed like his teammates actually rallied around it and said, we didn't take that as a criticism of us. It was a criticism of the whole team, right? Including Cam Ward. Right. He was saying it wasn't they asked, it was we asked.
Yeah, because he was specifically talking about the offense.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. So I think that that's just his personality. I think he has learned to maybe go about it in a different way next time. But I do think that that's going to be something that Cam Ward is not going to be sugarcoating anything when he's talking about the team's performance.
No, he's definitely one that you always have to have your radar up when he's at the podium, because you never know when you're going to get one of those comments that you got to run back to the news desk and pitch and, you know, write a story about. Yeah. It's just the way he is. But it's a part of what makes him so easily able to take over a locker room.
Yeah.
You think about it, working on that same documentary, you know, this is a guy, 22, 21 years old, and the first game of the year, he's talking to the team. Not Jeffrey Simmons, him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you look at just the way as they show different parts of the season, how he's talking to them. He's the one saying, you know, all that winning stuff is over, or losing stuff is over, et cetera, et cetera. And I think when you look at that, that's all a part of like his ability to have no filter, to have no punches pulled, to just keep it, as you said, a buck. You know, when you all you put forth is real rap, like you're going to be someone that's going to draw other people to follow you, especially when the work ethic. You have to have. You could talk is cheap, but when you have the work ethic that shows, and then also you start to see the results. You know, there were results sprinkled in. You look at the throw to Restrepo. You look at the first touchdown. Even honestly, the throw to Ridley, you know, that made his dad get up, you know, after Ridley's drop. I think you look at all these moments and you're like, and they even said, I think it was Kurt Warner, was like, you know, he showed some signs here after that first game. And he's shown signs where you're like, this could be really good.
Right.
You know what I mean? But he has shown some signs where it's like, all right, young fella, you got to grow too.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. There's a lot to grow on, but I think you also saw a lot of flashes of what made him the first overall pick.
Exactly.
I've been really impressed with Cam Ward and just the intelligence going through film. Like what they showed the clip of him saying, I'm glad the Broncos have only shown this look once. With they've got 7 guys at the line of scrimmage and they dropped 4 straight back, basically into like Tampa 2. And I like that. I love the conversation with Brian Callahan where they're looking at Joe Burrow's clips. They're looking at Stafford's clips. I just think he understands the game really well. And that's always something that you want to see from your young quarterback. Obviously it's a prerequisite if you're going to play in the NFL, but I've liked seeing that behind the scenes of him going through film and working on trying to attack defenses.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And the film study and the intelligence is something that I think is underrated with him. It's something that kind of floats under the radar. But I'll say this is a guy who was in 5th grade and his dad presented him with the Houston Gamblers playbook and he understood it.
Yep.
So it's been that way for pretty much all his life as far as the ability to digest a playbook, you know, so that's a really good thing. And they showed in the film study on the documentary.
And not that it's something that we haven't seen around here, but Cam's off the field personality is just hilarious. The dodgeball scene, we talked about it before yesterday. If I wanted to peg the bleep out of those kids, but I knew I couldn't. Just so funny.
Yeah.
Cam Ward on quarterback, and we are 4 episodes in as a show. TD's watched the whole thing. I did want to kind of look at the difference between what Cam Ward was working with last year and what he's working with this year. We're seeing kind of the behind the scenes interactions with Brian Callahan, the Broncos game. A lot was made out of that versus what he's going to see with Brian Dable. And we can get into that coming up next. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Our phone line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel at 1025 The Game for live shows and exclusive content. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker Kelly with you on your Thursday morning. Next man up, 1025 The Game. Next man up, 102.5, The Game. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker, Kelly. Has me feeling like we're on Chasing Big Joe show. This is their open, I think.
Is it?
I believe so.
The Beastie Boys.
It is.
It is. Yeah, I heard the kick it. I'm like, I wanted to it's showtime.
I think of Travis Kelce every single time I hear this song.
That is true. That is true. Was that their second Super Bowl parade, or was that the first one?
It might have been their second.
I want to say it was the second time they beat the 49ers. Or, no, the Eagles. The Eagles. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. If you have any questions for TD, get them in. Our phone line's driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com. We'll get to all of those coming up at 10 a.m. All of our football offseason coverage on 1025 The Game is presented by Tennessee Brewworks, locally brewed, community-driven, and Parman Tractor and Equipment, providing totally outrageous customer service. Visit ParmanTractor.com. We're going through quarterback. Cam Ward was featured on this season 3, along with Baker Mayfield, Joe Flacco, and Jaden Daniels. We are through episode 4, and I wanted to talk quickly about the difference between what Cam Ward had last year with Brian Callahan and Bo Hardegree versus the personality he's getting in Brian Daboll. Because we've talked about the scheme fit and what Brian Daboll can do mechanically to help out Cam Ward. But personality-wise, I do feel like Brian Daboll is going to be the guy in command of that room. And we saw the sequence where Cam Ward goes over on 3rd and 25 in Denver and points at a play he likes, and Brian Callahan says, don't take a sack. I again, not knowing Brian Daboll personally, just seeing what he's done in the media and what he's done previously, he would have said to Cam Ward, no, we're running a draw here and we're staying in field goal range, right? Like, yeah. I don't care that that's the play you want. Sure, if it was 3rd and 9, we might run that. But guess what? It's 3rd and 24. We're going to stay in field goal range here.
Yeah.
And yeah, he would have gone crazy if they did run that play and Cam Ward took a sack. I feel like the personality is going to be a better fit for Cam Ward here in year 2.
Yeah, I think really what you're getting, and I've said this before, you have a degree of jerkness that is just necessary as a play caller. And I think that's what you get with Brian Daboll. So that's exactly what they'll have. That'll be the difference as far as just the ability to kind of corral that personality a little bit better. Brian Callahan is, I think, a very intelligent coach.
Yes.
I think he's a guy who, X and O wise, he knows what he's doing, but there's certain personalities that I don't think mix.
Right.
Now, granted, Callahan and Cam Ward got along. They did get along, but there's certain personalities that I don't think mix that will result in success. And that's what you had there. Like, you need another bull or another ram to butt heads with the ram that Cam Ward is, and I think that's what you have with Brian Daboll.
Right. I think with Cam Ward, Brian Callahan maybe ceded to him a little bit too much, especially in game 1 where you've got a rookie quarterback coming in. You probably should step up and say, hey, this is a defensive battle. We're going to run the football here.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you like that play, but we just can't risk you taking a sack or turning the football over. And with Brian Daboll, I think you're right that the personality, they may clash more. And I think Brian Daboll is going to challenge Cam Ward and vice versa. Cam Ward's going to challenge Brian Daboll. But I think that might lead to more success than Cam Ward being the aggressor and Brian Callahan maybe kind of just not getting walked over, but saying, yeah, whatever you want, Cam.
Conflict is good.
Right.
It's okay to have conflict. But you just have to, as men, as adults, know how to have conflict and move on.
Yep.
Right now, once it gets carried on from one thing to another, that's a different story. But it's okay to, cuss each other out, and then, come back later and be like, hey, man, you know what? End of the day, you actually were right. So,
yes.
Bad. You know what I mean? And then you keep it moving.
Yes. And, you at least are, I would say I'm 99% sure that there won't be a change in play caller mid-season too. And they didn't focus on that much in the show. Like week 3 was actually probably just as much of a shift for Cam Ward as anything. Of Brian Callahan was in his ear for the first 3 weeks, and then you shift to Bo Hardegree. I do think that played a role as well. And Cam Ward, I get it. It's the same playbook. It's the same scheme. It's the same terminology. But it'd be nice that him and Brian Daboll, it's going to be those two guys. They are the guys on offense, and you're not worried about any kind of flip-flopping going on throughout the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And that continuity is important.
Right.
And I think, it's going to be tough. Even like, I don't know if you saw the episode where Cam did like a play call. He relayed one of the play calls.
Maybe.
Those are very lengthy.
Yes, they are.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to have to, and actually you saw, I'm sure you saw where Flacco, when he was in Cincinnati, he's like, man, I don't know the formation.
Yes.
And he called it wrong. These things are not easy to get. So having to go from one year to the next, getting a whole new. Now, I don't believe Daboll's play calls are as extensive and long as Zach Taylor and Callahan.
Yeah.
But still having to know that and, do that after a year of learning something different is going to be tough.
I actually thought that was the most interesting part of quarterback so far to me was Joe Flacco trying to learn a new system in 4 days to get ready for the Packers. And you're right. Like I loved, they had him mic'd up in the huddle and then he's going through and he said, I said X bang in a play call. Bang is not a route. It's a protection.
Yeah.
He's like, I didn't give Jamar Chase a route to run. So I don't know what he thought he was doing. And then, he's like, do you guys know the formation? Cause I don't. And T Higgins like, oh yeah, we do know the formation.
Yeah.
I thought that was so interesting. And the way that they said, it's like, the communication cuts off at 15 seconds. You got to kind of fill in the blanks where you can. And from that point, you got to go be an athlete. You got to go be a football player because no one's going to be helping you out once you get out there and snap the ball. You've got to figure it out at that point. But yeah, I thought that was one of the more interesting parts of, I think it was episode 4, where Flacco is trying to pick up this Zach Taylor offense on the fly and actually played pretty well against the Packers in that game.
He did. He played really well against the Packers. And I think, once you've been in a scheme, a bunch of schemes the way Flacco has, you're going to catch it quickly.
Right. Yeah, he's in his 40s.
It's essentially the same concept, and you know how to. But still, it's just it's amazing to me how their brains are like computers, and they're able to process this stuff. I mean, I thought it was pretty dope where when he first got traded, he's getting driven to Cincinnati, and he's talking to Zach Taylor and someone else.
That behind the scenes look, I think, shows you just how difficult it is, not just playing quarterback, but being able to just get to the line of scrimmage and run a play. And with Flacco, he said on the sideline, he was like, if I was younger, I probably would have felt like a complete idiot not knowing the formation. But he's like, I'm at this point where I just don't care. We just go out and ball and see what happens.
I was cracking up when they brought him in to do the QB sneak. He was like, they're clapping for this guy for a QB sneak. If I was watching this, I'd be like, who is this jerk? Who is the It was so funny, man. But Flacco, that's a cool dude, man.
He is.
He is someone that is just comfortable in his own skin, and he doesn't care, and it is what it is. But I do have a bone to pick with him.
Oh,
you got that Corvette sitting in your garage.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
You got it. You got to at least spin the block, multiple times.
Yeah,
man.
you said that he brought his kid out in it once, and it's just been collecting dust in his garage ever since.
Yeah, it's crazy. And it had dust, legit dust on it too.
I think Flacco, learning more about him has been one of the best parts of the documentary so far. We talked about with Corey yesterday, his family saying they benched him in fantasy football was great.
Yeah, your own son benched.
If dad goes off today, I'm going to crash out. Why? I benched him. So good. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Quarterback out on Netflix. We'll continue to talk about it to wrap up hour number 1. Get your questions in for TD. Already got some good ones on the text line. 615-737-1025. We'll get to all of your questions coming up at 10 a.m. with Talk to TD. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker Kelly. Next man up. 1025 the game.
I was shocked they had that in there.
They've got the bump music on the log is actually pretty
What?
deep. Now, if you're playing from there every day, it could start to get old.
Yeah.
But it's they've got some good ones in there.
Now this, you got to play the instrumental. Very wise on Parker's part, because NWA caught a lot of wreck for this. They actually, I think it was Detroit. They were doing, so this song is it rhymes with truck, as I forgot to hit mute. My bad.
I was like, why am I hearing TD again?
It rhymes with truck, the police.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And the police didn't like that. So they told them, they said, if you do this show, we're gonna shut it down. First song, what they came out with, Eazy-E kicked, and he said that, and they sure enough tried to shut it down.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. That's if everybody can read between the lines there, that's a good choice by Parker to do the instrumental, as always, usually on some of these.
I'm operating on a limited budget back here. So.
Parker is playing injured back there.
One hand tied behind my back.
615-737-1025 is the phone number. Another reminder, if you have any questions for TD, we've got some good ones on the text line. Get them in now. You can text or call Talk to TD coming up in about 15 minutes. Looking around at the other quarterbacks being featured, we talked about Joe Flacco. Baker Mayfield has been really fun to watch on this show too. I think he's going to have a lot more fans after this. I'm one of them too. I think he is a good quarterback. I'm getting kind of to the point where the season's about to go downhill. So I'm interested to see how he handles that after such a strong start to the year, but struggling with his arm injury. Corey gave us a little bit of a tease of the bruising that was going to be on his arm. That was crazy.
Yeah, he said he wore a sleeve to cover it up because he didn't want to.
Right, thought it was gross.
Baker, you watched that, and the one part that stood out to me was when he trucked the DB in his first game, and Tristan Wirth was like, "Hey, if you look when he did that, you look at the sideline and everybody's going crazy." And he was like, at that point, we knew, like,
yeah,
we could follow this guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? I thought that was really cool. Just getting the back, like, it was crazy. Like, man, the guy met his girl. 3 days later, they moved in, and like 6 months later, they're married. Like, well, you know. But at the same time, wow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But I think it's pretty cool the way that they kind of gave a different light, and it's just like, yeah, he's a jerk, but like he's jerk
mature now.
Yeah. You want to, you want that. You know what I mean? That's what you want as your quarterback, as your leader.
I think he's done a really nice job of channeling that mode into the football field. I think he struggled with not being able to turn it off when he was in college, like whether it was planting the flag or against Kansas or getting arrested. It's like, I think he struggled to flip between football Baker and non-football Baker. And I think he's got a nice separation now where he can still be that guy who's going to go after you on the football field and be that competitor, but he knows how to turn it off now and not get himself into trouble.
Yeah, that's exactly the case. He knows how to turn it off, and he could go ahead and flip the switch, but then at the same time be a very soft, caring father.
Right.
In this case, a new father, right? Because he just had his son after the season ended. So it is cool. You'll see later on, when Maverick, that's his son's name.
Yeah.
When he comes, he was like, I wanted to name him either Maverick or something else. And he's like, I told the first name. She was like, absolutely not. So I just kept pushing Maverick, and eventually, so Maverick Mayfield, that's the young fella.
Yeah, their daughter is Kova, which I thought the story was interesting that it came to her in a dream.
Yeah, Kova.
Yeah, Kova Jane is what they said. So
it's what you'll see, whenever you have children, you'll see how like the names just come about.
Right.
I remember like Deja, my oldest, I had her name after watching Higher Learning.
Right.
I had her name 5 years before she was born.
I love it. Yeah. It's I feel like it's one of those where and that's kind of how it felt for them with their daughter, of like, she said it to him and they immediately were like, yeah, that's the one.
That's it.
With Baker, the trash talk has been great. The whole montage there. Jalen Carter, you still have a spitting problem?
Yeah.
He was. I love that they showed some of the clips from the joint practice with the Titans.
Yeah.
Him and Jeff were going at it.
You lost some weight, so you think you could talk?
That
means Baker read my story.
Yeah. Yes, he did. He was prepping for trash talk for that week.
Yeah.
I want to say it was also Jeff where he threw a touchdown and Jeff goes, "We're okay with that. We're okay with that. You're okay with getting beat over the top in man coverage? All right, I wouldn't be."
Yeah, he's a good trash talker. He and Quinyon Mitchell were getting it in.
Yeah, I don't even know who you are.
Yeah.
He said he stole that from Arian Foster.
Yep. He's because Aaron Foster was like, turn around, let me see the back of his jersey. Oh, okay, because I didn't know who you I said, oh man, he made that man feel like that.
Baker's been great. Jaden Daniels, there just hasn't been a whole lot with him. The injuries are tough. Yeah, like really you just tough. Watch every time he comes back from one injury, another one pops up.
He shouldn't have been playing in that last game where
the Cowboys game. Yeah, I mean, but he shouldn't have been playing at that point in the game when they were getting blown out.
Yeah,
I understand the Seahawks game. Excuse me. Yeah.
I understand as an athlete, you and a competitor, you want to play, but that's where like the powers that be, so to speak,
right? Need to protect
the voice of reason. Sometimes you got to protect the guy from himself.
Yeah, we were talking about that with Baker. He's going through his history with the Browns and saying how playing injured is part of the reason that they moved on from him because he just didn't have a good year in 2021
because
of the shoulder, and then he kept doing it again with the Bucs. It's like get healthy.
You can't, but it's just hard to pull that out of you know what I mean? So.
Right. I will say, I know you're big into, manifesting. The Jaden Daniels, I will play in the NFL sign on his wall.
That was dope.
That was really cool.
I loved it.
To see that was up there. His mom said since he was like 8 or 9 years old, and he looked at it every single day.
Yep.
Jaden Daniels seems like just a really just a good dude.
Yeah.
Kind of a mama's boy, but like him
kind of he is.
Yeah. coming out of the blue
is.
tent and finding his mom to give her a thumbs up.
Because he knew she was gonna be worried to death. So he said, I got to settle her down.
That was great. But yeah, it's like he's one of those guys where it's like you don't have to worry about anything with him off the field or something like that. Like that dude is going to be in his playbook. He's going to be at home and he's going to be doing the right things all the time. I think that Jaden Daniels, again, there hasn't been too much interesting with him in this documentary, but it has been nice to learn more about his background, where he came from, and the type of guy that he is.
They showed his lady Juju from
So
USC.
Are they dating?
I thought they were.
I thought he said something like, that's my cousin or something like that. Or like, I don't know. His mom, I guess, is very protective over him with girls.
Yeah. Hey, listen, sometimes you gotta let the bird fly, man. You gotta let the bird fly. Kick the bird out the nest and see if, he could sail away.
Yeah.
I think he would be fine.
Was it his uncle who was saying like, this man's the number one player in California at 18 years old, and his mom says, go to your room. And he went to his room.
Yeah, all right. You don't want that belt.
Overall for you, since you've watched the full show, just what main takeaways about Cam Ward? Obviously, it was a tough rookie season, but you get to see the curtain pulled back. And how do you think that he's carrying himself heading into year 2?
I think he's carrying himself really well. And I think he's looking at it from I'm a build on that year and build on the success that he had going down the stretch. And I think when you look at that, you saw him really mature.
Yeah.
Right. And you saw him learn more things about the game as far as, when to push it to that limit and when not to. And even the last play that he played, he said, I probably should have dove and to my left, but I saw the end zone and my eyes got so big. And so I dove and the guy landed on me. And just having the ability, because I remember that hit. A lot of people were like, oh, that was a dirty hit. And he was like, no, it wasn't a dirty hit. It's football. And that's the fact. That man, that defender, his job is to keep Cam Ward from getting in the end zone. And so the most direct way to do that was to dive and meet him at the goal line. And that's what happened.
I wouldn't say it was dirty. It was late. Like he was already in, and
it's so bang,
Aluakon could have pulled up, I think.
Yeah,
and I'd have to look at it again.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a little bit late. But yeah, it wasn't dirty. Like we talk about some of the plays Azeez Al-Shire makes that you're like, yeah, that's dirty. I don't know if it was necessarily a dirty play, but I thought it was a little bit late.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I'm gonna go back and watch it again, but it didn't seem dirty to me, and it seemed like just an honest attempt to keep the guy from scoring. But you mentioned Azeez, and it's just so crazy because Azeez is so nice off the field,
right?
So nice off the field. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
The way he is on the field is hilarious. It's hilarious, the contrast.
I don't know if I saw this one. Jude on the YouTube chat says the little girl saying, "I want a PS5," and Cam going, "You ain't getting no PS5."
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen that
he did
part
say
yet.
that, yeah. But I mean, he spent $1,000 per kid, man. Like you know what I mean? Shout
Right.
out. Yeah.
You ain't getting no PS5.
He said, "Yeah, you ain't getting no PS5. You ain't getting that."
Him with the Fortnite. I don't play Fortnite anymore because these little kids are too good.
Yeah, he's right, man. He's right.
Cam's personality is great. I think he has proven himself to be very likable. And we talked about it when they announced that Cam Ward was going to be on quarterback, that this is an opportunity for the national fan base to get a better idea of what Cam Ward is like. That doesn't necessarily mean he's going to turn into a superstar, but I think it gives him the platform of being able to, if he plays really well this year, he could immediately become a household name because people are seeing behind the scenes of what he's like.
Yeah. And I think it just gives an opportunity for people to learn about him because, there's this thing put out there because of the transfers, especially like some people have this idea that he's like some type of problem person or entitled or anything like that.
Right.
He's anything but that, and I think when you look at, I love how he talks trash too, man. It's funny the trash he talks, you know what I mean? But
yeah,
he's a kid. I think that's really what it boils down. He's a kid.
Yeah.
That's what Joe Flacco and the whole thing. He's like, man, NFL locker rooms are full of kids now. They're all kids. And Cam is one of them.
Yeah, and you'll see him mature, but the personality definitely has been on full display during his time on quarterback. 615-737-1025. Dustin with a very good question on the text line. Is Trey okay? How is he not in on this Ward stuff?
I was just thinking about him the other day. We haven't heard from him in a while.
We have not heard from Trey in a while. I wonder if he's back down in Columbia or
should we send out the bat signal? Well, he's been down it seems like he's been down in Columbia for the last 3 months.
Well, yeah, it's
we
like
haven't heard from him in a long
during
time.
the offseason, he's come in waves where
he called. He didn't call Friday? I thought he called last Friday.
I don't think he did.
He didn't call.
We haven't had Trey in a while.
We had Matt. We had Nate.
Oh no, you know who called?
No, Trey.
The mailman.
Oh, Kenny.
Yeah, we had Kenny. Yeah. We need Trey. If you're listening, we need proof of life. We need a call in here
just to know that
make sure you're okay. We know
wellness check, man.
We know that preseason games are only 3 or 4 weeks away, so he's going to be back in here talking about the must-win games and how tough that Bears game is going to be in week 3 of the preseason. But we would love to hear from Trey before that. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. It is now your chance to talk to TD. Get your questions in. We've got some good ones in the chat right now. We will get to them coming up next. Text or call with any questions you have for Turron Davenport. We got 30 minutes of Talk to TD coming up next. Stay updated on the SEC Media Days with 102.5 The Game. SEC Media Day coverage will begin on Monday, and our coverage is brought to you by Shane Co. Handset engagement rings carefully crafted to last a lifetime. Tri-State Water, Power, and Air, and the Music City kickoff game featuring Ole Miss taking on Louisville September 6th at Nissan Stadium. Get your tickets today at NashvilleSports.com. Talk to TD, and hour number 2 coming up next. Jake Lyman, Turron Davenport, Parker Kelly. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Next man up, 102.5, The Game. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker, Kelly with you. Broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. It is now your chance to talk to TD. Get your questions in, 615-737-1025. Call or text with any questions you have for Turron. We will get to all of them over the next 30-plus minutes. Let's start with 7146. This is Jude. Sent this in earlier. If you are running the Titans, how long do you give Cam Ward to prove he is the guy for the future?
I'll give him another 2 seasons.
Yeah.
I mean, it used to be 3 seasons before you really knew what a player was. So, yeah, I give him 3.
Yeah, we had another similar question like this. Let me see. 7410 said, if Cam doesn't show in 2026 that he's a top half of the league quarterback, is it mandatory that he becomes that in year 3 for you? Or do you think after seeing guys like Mayfield and Darnold develop later, does that change how patient you're willing to be with Cam?
It doesn't change. It changes how much I want to build a team around him.
Right.
Because, I mean, look, like Sam Darnold is talented. You know what I mean? Let's not get it twisted. But, you know, a good part of that, he has an outstanding team around him. Like that defense is setting him up. That you know, play calling is really good as well. So, you know, it's not always – the failure and success is not always dictated by one person. It's always dictated by situation.
Yeah.
And I say it over and over again. I honestly wonder if you took Corey Davis and flipped him with Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
I wonder what the success would
do
be
their
like.
careers flip.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I wonder if Freddie Mitchell didn't have Donovan McNabb constantly sabotaging him. I wonder how it would be. No, it's true story. True story. Donovan McNabb, his best friend was Charles Johnson. Right?
Yeah.
Charles Johnson, receiver from Colorado. He was a veteran. They drafted Freddie Mitchell number 1. Freddie Mitchell was killing training camp. They released Charles Johnson. All of a sudden, McNabb, like as if Freddie Mitchell was supposed to not play well. You know what I mean? Like everybody's in their own circumstance. You got to do what you got to do.
Right.
And so they never vibed because of that.
Yeah, no, you are right. That situation is everything. And the Titans are trying to give Cam Ward a good situation. They're giving him weapons, the offensive line we'll get into in a second. But yeah, I mean, I think to give up on Cam Ward after this year, it would have to be a complete disaster, right? Like it would have to be you're benching him for Mitchell Trubisky in November, like that bad. And I don't think it's going to be that bad. But also, you may not know for sure that he's the franchise quarterback after this year.
Mm-hmm.
You'd love to have an answer one way or the other. But, yeah, I think it's going to be 2027. You're hoping that he's ascending to be the franchise quarterback type of guy in year 3.
Right.
1196 asks, question for TD. Who was the best free agent departure? Somebody that you're glad is not on the team anymore. Not you specifically. We'll say the Titans are glad that they don't have to worry about anymore.
Good question. I think T'Vondre Sweat could be one.
I was thinking Snead.
Yeah, it's probably it's Snead.
Right.
Yeah.
I think he's just, I don't want to say addition by subtraction, but it's just like they're clear that clearly was not going to work out here. And I think it's good to just not have that burden on you anymore. Robbie and Rexroad have been asking this question to everybody this week. Did they ask you? Oh, you go on with them tomorrow. So they'll probably ask you too. What would Titans fans be most upset about? L'Jarius Snead turning back into a legit cornerback for the Chiefs. T'Vondre Sweat turning into an anchor defensive tackle star for the Jets. Or the Falcons offensive line just being unbelievable under Bill Callahan after he struggled here.
I think it would be Snead.
I think it's Snead.
There's just so much venom tied around that man.
Right.
Anything that he does positive is going to be hated by Titans.
Right. Especially because you traded a 3rd-round pick for him. You gave him all that money, and he played what? 10 games for you, 11 games for you, and was never really all that good. If he went back and turned back into a top 10 cornerback in the league, which I wouldn't expect, I think that would be the one that would upset Titans fans the most.
A whole lot.
I think Sweat would be second because with Bill Callahan, like an offensive line coach, it's a lot of it is about the talent that you have. So if the Falcons' offensive line is just more talented than the Titans, maybe he has more to work with. So that one might be annoying, but it wouldn't upset the Titans fan base. Sweat and Snead, I think, would be the ones that you look at and you're like, man, of course they leave Nashville and they immediately turn into superstars.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I doubt either of those things are going to happen. Andrew on the text line asked, not to beat a dead horse, but I still have a lot of concerns about the offensive line and think a lot of fans probably do as well. Do you think they haven't really made a lot of moves recently because they're confident in their starting five, or because there isn't really anyone better out there to go out and get?
Yeah, there were some options to go get. I just think, and actually, what's the center? Another center just came available. He started for the Browns, but he's cleared.
Ethan Pochich.
Yeah. So you do have that, but I mean, look, I think it's a combination. I think really what it comes down to is the comfort level that Carmen Basillo and Brian Dable have with Austin Slopeman. But at the same time, Andre James, I think, he's going to compete.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. I think, to answer the question, I think they're solid. They feel they're solid with what they have, and they know Kevin Zeitler is in the chamber. You know what I mean? That's one that you could just pull out if need be.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I do wonder what the roster math looks like. We had Nick Suss on Tuesday, and he brought this up about the offensive line. You're not going to keep 6 interior offensive linemen. So I would think if it is Schlottman versus James for center, one of those guys is starting and the other one might get cut because Pat Coogan, would you rather keep Austin Schlottman or Andre James or Pat Coogan, who you think has a higher ceiling and you just spent the draft?
Pat Coogan is the center of the future.
Right.
They're going to keep him. And as you said, it's going to be one of the two.
Right.
And both of the deals are set up to where, because Schlottman's not
it's a 2-year deal, but it wouldn't be that tough to get out of. So I do think that you're probably seeing James or Schlottman as your week 1 starter. The other one probably doesn't make the initial 53. And then at right guard, you're not cutting Jackson Slater. You're probably not cutting Fernando Carmona after spending a 5th-round pick on him. And I think Volson's probably going to be your starter. So, and I don't know if you'd want to cut Volson if Slater wins that job. So you're keeping 5. I think whoever loses the center competition probably is cut.
Because remember, Fernando Carmona could also play tackle.
Right.
He's not a tackle by trade, but he could play tackle. So that gives you some flexibility. Then you got Jackson Slater, who could play center as well as guard. You know what I mean? So there's flexibility. I think Crenshaw Dixon is going to be the swing. I had him keeping 10 offensive linemen.
Right.
Yeah.
So would that be your starting 5?
The starting 5
plus
Crenshaw Dixon, Deculus,
Coogan,
Carmona,
Slater. Yeah. I think that's right. Yeah. You would keep 6 interior offensive linemen in that scenario, or 5, and then 5 tackles as well. Yeah. So, the offensive line, that's going to be the focal point for a lot of people heading into the season of what can that group do? Can it at least be serviceable? Right now, lots of question marks. Belvis on the text line, kind of similar vein, but could be anywhere on the team. Belvis asked, TD, is there any free agent still out there the Titans could add that would help them immediately?
That's a weekly question.
Yeah, I feel like we get that every single week.
I'll continue to say Zeitler, but I don't really think that there are any other than Zeitler. I mean, Postage is an intriguing name.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But at this point, it seems like they got their center that they are thinking about.
Somebody, it was one of the ESPN articles that we've talked about, mentioned Kenny Moore as an option for the Titans at
it's
nickel.
Intriguing, but I mean, you already, they like Marcus Harris.
Right. And I think Kenny Moore might be looking for somewhere he can win more immediately.
Exactly.
So I would say probably not, but that is somebody who has been brought up as an option. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Any questions you have for TD, get them in. We've got another segment of Talk to TD coming up next. Text or call 615-737-1025. Our phone line's driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. This Sunday, 1025 The Game will have live coverage of the Borchetta Bourbon Music City Grand Prix at the Nashville Superspeedway, and coverage begins at 5 p.m. It's brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, and Big Shots in downtown Nashville. Talk to TD continues after this. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker Kelly, next man up, 1025 The Game. Next man up, 1025 The Game. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker, Kelly. Talk to TD to start off hour number 2. Getting to all of your questions on our phone and text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. And TD always presented by Bart Durham Injury Law. Lots of good Titans questions in the first segment. Let's get into some more fun ones here. We got some car-related questions here, TD.
Okay.
4312 asks, TD, if you could have any car regardless of time frame, what would you get?
Oh, that's a good one, man. I love the Ferrari Testarossa, man. That old school one. That would probably be the one. But I mean, I'm a Corvette. I love Corvettes.
Yeah.
I've always loved Corvettes. So the red one out there is one I would say too.
That's why it hurts you so bad to see Joe Flacco just letting that one rot in his garage.
Crazy.
Dude, I couldn't believe that. I couldn't believe how much dust that thing had.
It's like and I get it. Like his wife said, like it's not a super functional car when you have kids to like drive around, but like it's also it's
spin the block,
right?
Like that's when I would drive to the facility,
right? Yeah, like
you know what I mean?
Joe Flacco could drive that in for game days, can he?
Yeah.
Right? Like I think that would make a whole lot of sense. 4312 says 1970 Plymouth Roadrunner with a 426 would be his.
Yeah, you doing something right there. That's that old muscle.
Justin from Greenbrier says, TD, I've heard you refer to certain players being a Honda Accord. That was Nick Westbrook-Akine, Tony Pollard, the new Honda Accord.
He was a Chevy Corsica.
Yeah, the Chevy Accord. He asked, what was your first car when you started driving?
Oh, my first car was a 1981 Honda Accord hatchback. Man.
It was a Honda Accord.
Yeah,
there you
Honda
go.
Accord hatchback, man. I had that, man. I remember I went down to the Poppy spot, Germantown Avenue. Got the so on Germantown Avenue in Philly, that's like a bunch of like the Puerto Ricans, and they're real swift with the sound.
Yeah,
and they're cheap too. So you know what I mean. Poppy hooked that joint up for me, and that's what he did. I had the 2 speakers, the 8x12 Orions in the back, and then an amp connected to it with the Pioneer tape deck. Man, listen, I used to play Coogee rap, man, at work. Yo, you would hear me coming around the block, but the little hatchback, the way it was the hatch, like the sound would bounce back into the car. Yo, I used to run that thing from Philly to New York and back to Philly. Oh, man.
That's amazing.
It was, that thing had 220,000 miles on it when I was done with it.
I mean, that's what we mean by Nick Westbrook-Akine being the Honda Accord.
It's going to get you where you got to go.
Right. Yeah, it may
not always be the prettiest.
Right.
It's going to get you where you got to go.
Exactly.
And that thing was pea green.
Wow.
Or like a seafoam green. Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
I've got the orange one out there, and I'm not a huge fan of that color, but I think my next car, I might just go black. So my first car was a red Toyota Tacoma. It was my dad's old truck that he passed down to me. And I love that truck. It was great. It was pushing close to 150,000 miles, I want to say. And I was driving from Blacksburg to Bluefield, West Virginia to call a wrestling Division III wrestling championship.
Wow.
And I hit a patch of ice and it spun into a guardrail and totaled it. Yeah. Luckily no other cars on the road, but yeah, that was my first car. Love that car. It probably still would be running today 5 years later, but tough. Parker, what was your first car?
So I'm still driving mine.
Oh, you're still okay.
Ironically enough, but I did have a Nissan Maxima that I bought, and turns out it was a used car. I bought it. It had been in a really bad wreck, but the people that sold me the car had kind of painted over it and made it look nicer than the interior was. So it turns out there were some bad issues. So I returned the car, ended up getting my camera, and I'm still driving it. But my next car, my next vehicle will be a truck.
Oh, yeah. I love it. I love it. Yeah. Did you tell TD about the deer?
Yes, I hit a deer coming back from my parents' house on July 4th.
Oh, really?
It came out at the very last second. It was a back road, narrow, no street lights or anything, so you really couldn't see any deer that were off in the distance. But this thing came out at the very last second.
Did it dent you up?
It did, the front, but the damage is actually pretty minimal.
Yeah, it doesn't look that bad.
That is a good thing. I do not have to pay a lot either for a deductible.
That's good.
Love it. Yeah, I mean, I hate car issues. My wife actually just had some car trouble, and it ruins your day, it ruins your week having to deal with it, no matter what it is. So
you know what the trick? So like with my Corvette, I I got the GM card through Barclays. And like if you sign up for the card and you spend like 3,000 in the first month or something like that, you get like 60,000 points or something.
Yeah.
And then it keeps you just have to track. It's just like any other card, like you track like how to accumulate points and stuff like that. Man, I had my car service. I had the oil change and wheel alignment, and it was a couple dollars, you know what I'm saying? But with the points, I just paid it off with the points. I didn't have to spend anything except for the tax on it,
Really?
So, yeah, so that's my financial suggestion. Get yourself a card that's the same as your company. Like GM has them. I believe I know that there are others, but I know GM has it. And
That's smart.
That's a card that I use for sure.
That's smart. Yeah, it's always nice when you can I did a Southwest card to get points, and it paid for a couple of flights. And it's just like when you don't have to see that giant charge go onto your credit card for a flight. It's so nice.
It's so nice, man.
615-737-1025. Again, it's your chance to talk to TD. Let's go to the phone lines. Edward is on the line. Edward, thanks for calling. Go ahead.
Hey, guys. Enjoy your show.
Appreciate
Always
it.
insightful. Yeah. Talk about vehicles for a minute. My first vehicle was a 1970 Volkswagen Bug.
Oh,
I could put $3 in that thing on Friday afternoon, TD, and run till Monday. It was absolutely great. But I've come a long ways, had some success in my life. I currently have owned a C8 70th anniversary, and I also own a Porsche 911. I want to talk about the C8.
yeah, talk about it because I got the same one.
I had a little issue with it. My son talked me into buying this. I had to replace the double clutch. It wouldn't go in reverse, and then I had some computer issues. But when it came to 0 to 60, it could outrun a Lamborghini.
Yes.
Wow.
2.7, I think, 2.8.
I got 2.6 on mine.
What's that?
I got 2.6 on mine. Did you put it on the sport or track setting?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I did. But I ended up selling it and updating. I've been a Porsche owner for probably 25 years. You remember the movie Risky Business, Tom Cruise statement, as he just blew by a bunch of high school kids in cars?
Yeah.
Porsche, there is no substitute. And I have stayed with Porsche ever since. I got a Carrera 911, and I love that car. It's a manual, and it's fun to shift and drive. My wife likes it a lot more than I do. But that C8 Corvette, that is a fast car. You can go on YouTube and you can see them outrunning Ferraris. That's 0 to 60 now. You get on up past 200. I asked when I ordered it from Wilson County Motors, I said, what's the top claim speed on this? 198. That's not the Z. That was just your basic Corvette.
Yep.
So for the money, it's a great
great buy. Yeah. It's a great buy. Now it's funny you mentioned that because my C8 the transmission wasn't torqued properly. So we got the whole thing replaced, but it was covered under warranty.
Okay,
you know what I mean. So
nice.
it's all good. You know what I mean. But that C8, as Ed said, that was Corvettes. Like they brought that out to be like supercar to compete against the Lambos, the Ferraris, and because that engine sits right on the axle the way it does, the mid-engine. And all the weight is right there. Just that thing take I'm about to take you for a ride in that one time. It's crazy. Because what did I tell you? It took me 1.5 minutes to get here from Kroger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I turned out of there. I was 0 to 60. I was driving stupid.
All green lights.
Admittedly, I was driving stupid.
You wanted to avoid doing push-ups.
I didn't want to do my push-ups.
I had a guy pull up to me. I live in Murfreesboro at a red light. He was in one of those Xfinity sports cars. I can't think of what the name
Oh,
of
yeah.
it
I know
is.
what you're talking about.
But he rolls down the window, and he says, I will race you for $200. I was in that C8.
Man,
and
I took his $200 quickly.
I was like, I'm not going to take your money today. He was a 19, 20-year-old kid. I'm 64, so, a little different story there. But, guys, enjoy your show. Throwing in a topic like this every once in a while. I love talking sports. but that adds a lot to it.
That's
Thanks.
right.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Thank you for the call, Edward. Yeah, it's nice with Talk to TD. I try and do first segment, get the Titans questions in, because we're going to get plenty of Titans questions for TD, but everybody does a nice job of throwing in some life, cars, music, movies, whatever it is.
That's so the CA Ed, I'm getting and I know he's gone, but I'm getting the spacers put on to make the wheels poke out a little bit more.
Oh,
it improves the handling. But with that, you got to get another, like the side skirts. So actually, that stuff is coming in tomorrow, and I'm gonna take it to my guy, LLS Customs over there on Antioch Pike.
Love it.
You need any work done? You know what I mean? Like not detail, but like stuff like that, and lights and stuff like that. They're the ones that do it. He did a lot of work for the Titans. I actually got put on to him by Laurel Murchison, if you remember.
Oh, Merch.
Yeah. So when I had my Camaro, he put the lights in there. Then he put them in the Hummer. He put them in the Corvette. He put them in the F-150 too. So
I want to know if maybe he did Cam Ward's lights in his car. I don't know if you saw that.
Those lights,
he's got the star lights in his car.
He does. You know, when I first saw that during COVID, when we had a Zoom and Kevin Byard did a presser from his car, and the lights were in there, I was like, I need that.
Yeah.
I need it.
Gotta get
At the time, I had an Audi A4, so I was like, I'm not putting them in this. But then when I got the Camaro, when the Audi died, I said, yeah, we're going to do it.
I love it. Yeah, I immediately thought of you when it was like the first episode or first scene of episode 3 of Quarterback. I saw Cam Ward with the lights behind him, and I was like, I got to talk to TD about that tomorrow.
He had it in.
615-737-1025 is the phone number. Appreciate everybody chiming in on Talk to TD. If you have any other questions, we'll try and get to them throughout the rest of the show. You can always text or call. 1025 The Game and Borchetta Bourbon present True American Racer, the Bobby Rahal story, tomorrow night at the Franklin Theater. Celebrate the career of an Indy 500 champion with rare footage and a live Q&A featuring racing legends. You can get tickets now at franklintheater.com. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker Kelly, next man up, 1025 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker, Kelly. TD Thursday here on the program. Big thanks to everybody who chimed in during Talk to TD. If you have any more questions, we'll try and get to them throughout the show. 615-737-1025. I will say, Parker doing more with less back there.
Throw them bows. That's what this one right here is called.
He has been limited in his scope of what he can play, and he's still doing a nice job. Well done, Parker.
Make it happen.
I wanted to get into some of these quarterback competitions around the league here, TD, as we're getting closer to training camp. I can't believe that rookies report a week from today.
Yeah, man.
Right? Yeah, the
Crazy.
23rd. And some of the teams are going to start reporting in the next couple of days. Is it Panthers and I forget who's in the Hall of Fame game this year, but couple
Cardinals,
of teams.
I think it is
Yeah,
Panthers,
that sounds like that sounds about right. So training camp going to get started in the next couple of weeks. There are 4 quarterback battles around the NFL that I am keeping an eye on. Now, I wanted to start with the one in Cleveland. Shedeur Sanders, Deshaun Watson. Sanders obviously finished the year last year for Cleveland. Deshaun Watson has, it's been a disaster since he's been there with the Browns. But obviously, you look back and you still see that there is talent there. He just hasn't played like that since he left Houston. Jared Verse yesterday made a comment that he's seeing 2 elite quarterbacks going at it. Who do you think wins that one between Shedeur and Deshaun Watson?
Wow, that's a good question. I mean, I would imagine they want Deshaun Watson to win it. Well, the money that's
Paying him that much
invested
money,
in him,
yeah.
But, man, I don't know. I that's a hard one. I'm going to go with Shedeur. I think Shedeur is going to win that. Actually, you know what? No, I think Watson is going to win it, and Shedeur will eventually take over. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, I think there's a decent chance both of those guys get a handful of starts throughout the season. And, you forget that Dylan Gabriel's still on that roster too. It's the Browns have mismanaged that quarterback situation
Badly.
terribly over the last few years. This is the last year for Deshaun Watson on this deal. He is getting paid $40 million, I believe, but he is free after next year. There will still be some dead cap, I want to say, for the Browns after that, but his 5-year, $230 million fully guaranteed deal going to expire at the end of this season. That one, it's interesting because I don't think the Browns are going to be very good either way. I think that team is in the sweepstakes to go draft whoever the top quarterback is in 2027. So if it were me, I would go with Shedeur Sanders because Deshaun Watson, I think that he's not going to ever get back to the guy he was at the end of his tenure in Houston. And with Shedeur Sanders, not that I believe he's going to become a franchise quarterback. I think we saw a lot of the red flags rear their ugly head last year with some of the decision-making. We saw in the Titans game, threw a horrible pick in that game. But I do think that there's more room to grow for Shedeur Sanders, and you have him on a rookie deal. I'd rather find out what I have in Shedeur Sanders than just see more of what I already know Deshaun Watson is.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. I think that's something that you look at, and it's always that potential, right? You know that ceiling that you're looking to acquire. But I think when you look at Shedeur, the floor is high too. You know what I mean? So he's a guy that is very capable of playing like a veteran. He did at times this past year. You know what you got, like you said, in Deshaun Watson. You also know that after this year, as you mentioned, he's out of there.
Right. And with Cleveland being a team that is not, you just traded away Myles Garrett. This is a team that is not built to compete for a playoff spot this year. Go with the young guy and see what you have, because the results are probably going to be about the same given what he's going to have around him.
Yeah.
I think I would say the opposite for Minnesota, where we're talking about Kyler Murray versus JJ McCarthy. Yes, in Cleveland, it makes sense to go with the young guy because what do you have to lose? I don't think that team's going to be very good anyway. But with Minnesota, you can look at that team and say, they've got the pieces to go compete. They won 13 games 2 years ago with Sam Darnold. They were still a 9-win team last year with J.J. McCarthy in and out of the lineup. So I think you go with the more proven commodity with Kyler Murray because that's a Vikings team that feels like they can compete for a playoff spot if they just get better quarterback play this season.
Right, exactly. And I think that's the thing that you have to look at. You got to get better quarterback play in order to compete. This is a quarterback-driven league.
Right. And so I think I kind of look at those as very similar in terms of a a veteran quarterback who has been given up on in a way. Kyler Murray was given up on by the Cardinals. Same with Deshaun Watson in a different way, of course, but I think everybody's kind of moved on from hoping he's going to figure it out. And then the two young guys who have not lived up to what the expectations were heading in through their first year as an actual player. JJ McCarthy obviously has been in the league for 2 years. But I look at it as the situation is different. Cleveland is a team that likely is going to be picking in the top 5 next year, whereas Minnesota, it's a tough division. But if Kyler Murray can play top 15 quarterback, which might be a lot to ask, but we've seen it before from him, that's a team with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and TJ Hawkinson. And they've still got Aaron Jones, and the defense has a lot of players on it. Like, I think that's a team that could compete for a playoff spot in the NFC North.
Yeah, absolutely. Because they have so many talented players. And I think when you look at that offense, all they need to do is get some good play out of whoever the quarterback is.
Right.
Now, I would imagine it's going to be Kyler Murray. But you look at him and then Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, I think, as you mentioned, Hawkinson, they
got pieces.
Yeah.
They got pieces. And with JJ McCarthy during OTAs, I think you kind of got the sense that Kyler Murray is already the starter. They just didn't want to name it right off the bat with the way Kyler was talking of, man, I'm not getting all the reps that I need to get if I'm going to learn this system. And JJ McCarthy saying that their relationship is just two guys sitting on opposite sides of the classroom.
Yeah.
Like, I think you could tell that there was some hurt feelings for JJ McCarthy that he's not going to be the starter this year. And Kyler Murray is saying, why are we still giving this guy first team reps? If I'm going to be the starter, I need to get as many opportunities as I possibly can.
Yep. And he's just more or less saying, hey, look, man, you know what the decision is going to be and support it.
That NFC North is going to be a gauntlet this year because I think Chicago could very well be. And Micah Parsons hopefully back healthy this year for the full season. The Lions, I think, are going to take a big step back into the limelight this year after a 9-win year last season. So that NFC North, I don't know if I would pick the Vikings to win it, but there's certainly a path to all 4 of those teams winning that division. There's just so much talent among those 4 squads.
Man, so much talent. You look at Green Bay is always intriguing. And now you got. I want to see, is Matthew Golden going to emerge?
Right.
You know what I mean? Jordan Love continues to be a dynamic quarterback, so you have that. Micah Parsons healthy for the full year. That's going to be fun to watch. Detroit, obviously, all the stuff. I love their wide receiver tandem. People don't really talk about them as much.
Amon-Ra.
Jamo and Amon-Ra. You know what I mean? We were talking about Coney Island hot dogs.
Yeah.
That apparently Jamo, that's one of his favorite places
Really?
to go. Yeah. Eric Woodyard, my fellow ESPN information reporter, he covers the Lions out there, and he did a story on Jamo and going to there. But you look at Laporta too, and obviously, Jahmyr Gibbs, who was one of the best running backs in the league.
Right.
So there's so much there. Jared Goff, I didn't even realize he's had 4,500 yard seasons.
Yeah.
And there's the number of, I think it was only 4 other guys to do that or something crazy like that.
Right.
But, you have that. You got I want to see what the Bears do, right? Because, obviously, they got Rome Odunze,
Luther Burden.
That's the one.
Colston Loveland.
Right. And that allowed them to move on from DJ Moore, who's in Buffalo now.
Yep.
The defense, we'll see how that works. But, to your point, all 4 teams are it's interesting.
Yeah, I think the Titans are very glad not to be playing that division this year.
Still got the Lions, though.
Yes, they do have the Lions. That was a tough draw where that's your 4th place schedule game.
Yeah.
You have to play the Lions, who Jeremy Fowler just put out the rundown of his top 10 list and how many players on each team there were. The Lions had the most with 9.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which we just listed them all. Amon-Ra's on there, Laporta, Gibbs, Goff, Penei Sewell. That's just on offense.
They had
Hutchinson.
And then both safeties. No, Branch, but then the other Joseph,
Kirby
I think,
Joseph
got an honorable mention, I want to say.
Yeah, and then the Jack Campbell, the linebacker, too. So, they got players everywhere. That is not exactly the best 4th place schedule game that you could have gotten if you're the Titans. But You kind of they do get the easy ones from their AFC side at the very least. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We'll wrap up hour number 2 with TD after this. Again, anything you've got for Turron, we'll take it on our phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. 615-737-1025. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker Kelly. Next man up, 1025 The Game. Next man up, 1025 The Game. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker Kelly. We're going around the league looking at some of the quarterback battles heading into training camp. There will not be one in Pittsburgh with the black and yellow. Aaron Rodgers back for another season. But there was one we didn't get to, and I think this is the quarterback battle in the truest sense of the term. Michael Penix and Tua Tagovailoa. That's the one that I don't really know what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
You got the two lefties out there in Atlanta. Penix has to stay healthy. That's been a bit, well, both of them have to stay healthy. They've had that issue throughout their careers. But I really don't know which way they're going to lean with this one. I would probably go Penix again, take the younger guy. You spent a top 10 pick on him just 3 years ago. So I would probably lean Penix, but I could see it going either way in Atlanta under Kevin Stefanski.
Yeah, it can go either way. And we know Stefanski's going to want to get that quarterback on the move, a lot of play action and booting and stuff like that. So both guys are fitting for that. Whoever, like if Tua wins the job, I mean, you always have the injury factor. So Penix has to stay ready.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it could be one play and he's in there. So I don't know that they've just the way they've handled the whole like everything around the quarterback
It's
stuff
very
has
strange.
been very strange.
Yeah.
From picking because I remember sitting at JC Latham's press conference and
Right.
looking on my phone like
They did what?
they picked Penix 8th. And I remember looking at Rand and Rand was like, he knew that's what was going to happen, from their
The
research
intel,
and
yeah.
et cetera. But then to do that after having paid Kirk Cousins the
Right.
guarantee, like it just has been a mess. And then bringing Tua in, and I look, more power to them. But I would hate to be Arthur Blank and a guy, stuck in that situation.
Yeah, they really have mangled that quarterback situation, and now you've got Matt Ryan in charge. And again, the Falcons, I think that's a talented team. I don't know which one of those guys gives you a better chance to go win. I think they're very similar players. Tua's probably a little bit more accurate down the field. Penix, maybe a little bit more athletic at this point in his career.
Mhm.
But again, I think that one's splitting hairs. We'll have to see what they're able to do in training camp. No joint practice with them this year for the Titans. That's right. It's that was last year. They got 49ers, Seahawks, Bears.
Yeah.
Speaking of Kirk Cousins, does Fernando Mendoza start in week 1 for Vegas?
No.
You think it's going to be Kirk?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Cousins, and they're just going to bring Mendoza along. I would say week 4, 6, something like that. That's when he'll start.
Yeah, I would probably guess that too. Let's see. What does the Raiders' schedule look like? Because if it's a
Titans go there later, I think like week 13
it's like
or something like that.
Yeah, it is. I think December at some point. They start with Dolphins, Chargers, Saints, Chiefs. Man, but it's like if you plug him in after, let's say, 4 weeks, at New England, Buffalo, Rams are the next 3. Like I don't know if this was the same conversation we had with Cam Ward last year, and it's different because if Kirk Cousins was in the room with Cam Ward, I think we would have had a different conversation than with Brandon Allen. But it was like there were some people who wanted him to sit. I'm just like, there's never a good time to just throw them into the fire. And with Mendoza, it's like, all right, let's say you sit him week 1. Well, wouldn't the Dolphins kind of be a good spot for him to get acclimated if there is a good spot in the NFL, rather than anywhere in October where you're facing the Chiefs, Patriots, Bills, Rams that are probably going to be much tougher matchups?
Yeah, Jeff Hafley is the Dolphins coach, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That defense, we'll see what the defense is. But
Yeah,
I mean, I think that would be a good time.
Right.
To bring them along.
I don't know. That will be one of the more intriguing storylines because, again, it's like last year with Cam Ward, there wasn't really a question because it was Brandon Allen.
Yeah.
But with Kirk Cousins, it would make sense to put him in.
And see, that's the thing. I'm rarely a fan of like, hey, you're going to gain by sitting. But I think in this situation, I think they're more ready. Like Kirk Cousins is a legit option, right? To start off. Like Kirk Cousins, I could legit understand playing him over Mendoza just because he's going to be better right now. You know what I mean?
And you can ask the question of the Titans last year, why didn't you bring in somebody you felt could start and let Cam sit for a little bit? That's a completely valid question. But yeah, there was never a chance when they only signed Brandon Allen as a backup quarterback that it wasn't going to be Cam Ward in week 1.
I think, it's different. With Cam, you had so much extensive experience, right? I mean, this guy, 40-something starts? You know what I mean? So I think that's something to take into account. I don't. Mendoza was a 2-year starter, I believe.
How much did he play at Cal? Let's see. Fernando Mendoza, because obviously, I mean, he made a lot of starts last year. 16 starts last year. He played 3 years total, so 36 total starts between Cal and Indiana. So decent amount.
Yeah, I mean, I get both sides of the equation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I personally would rather see him play right away, but I would have set it up in that way, in that, I wouldn't have went and got Kirk Cousins. I would have, gotten somebody, like a Jacoby Brissett. I know he's in Arizona.
Right. Gardner Minshew.
That type of player.
Right.
It's like, okay, you know what?
That's the backup.
that's the backup.
Yep.
But he's going to bring him along and push him and help him.
Yeah, Clint Kubiak will have some decisions to make out there in training camp. I think those are the 4 spots where you really don't know who the starter is going to be. Everywhere else, I feel like it's pretty cut and dry. The Dolphins didn't pay Malik Willis that kind of money for him not to be their week 1 starter, even though like maybe Quinn Ewers, like the Jets, Geno Smith's going to start. I wouldn't be shocked if Cade Klubnik gets in later in the season. But those are really the 4 spots where I think you look and say there's a legitimate quarterback competition going on. Good question from Trevor on the text line. Do you think Aaron Donald will suit up this year?
Yeah, it seems like that's the direction it's going.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if he does, it's going to be I wouldn't say he's going to be the same Aaron Donald, but hey, you know, that best D tackle in the league conversation is opened up now. You know what I mean? So we'll see. But I think Jeffrey Simmons is still the best.
Let's see with Aaron Donald. He is, how old is he now? He is 35. 35 years old. He has not played since 2023, so 2 seasons off. His last year, he had 8 sacks and 16 tackles for loss. Still was first-team All-Pro, so still a very good player. And again, with defensive tackles, it's more about how you impact the game than the counting stats, although he did have 5 straight seasons with double-digit sacks, including a 20.5 sack season. But I agree with you. I think if Aaron Donald comes back, it's not going to be, hey, Aaron, line up next to Miles and go play 60 snaps a game. It's going to be using him strategically to get him good matchups. And
yeah,
I think every team, even though he's 35 and 2 years out of the league, I think every team in the league would love to have Aaron Donald on their defensive line for as many snaps as they can get out of him.
Absolutely.
So I don't think it's going to be Aaron Donald comes back and is defensive player of the year again, but he could get you 5 or 6 extra sacks that you might not have gotten if you had somebody else lining up there.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a fun story. I would guess we probably don't see him until after training camp. I don't think Aaron Donald is, or maybe midway through training camp. I don't think he's signing up for a full month of training camp 2 years out of the league.
No, he's not going to want to do
that. That's definitely one of the big stories heading into training camp for the Rams, who they are by far the Super Bowl favorite heading into this year. And it is a scary sight to see just with the, what those guys look like, having Aaron Donald and Myles Garrett lining up next to each other.
Mercy. That's bad, man.
Titans fans, be glad that your offensive line does not have to face the Rams this year.
I know Cam is glad. What do you say? I'm tired of getting a hit out of me. That's what Cam said.
I will say the Titans did a half decent job against Myles Garrett last year in the Cleveland game.
Well, yeah, they had 2 tight ends moving with him in motion.
Well, it wasn't quite like the one, was that 3 years ago, where they wouldn't snap the ball because they just had the tight end chasing Myles Garrett back and forth.
That was when Andre Dillard was like, because I remember I asked him, I'm like, you know, as an athlete, you're always confident, but it's got to be tough going out and, you know, having these types of results happen against you. How do you work through and bounce back from it? And he was like, he looked in the sky and he was like, you know, one thing that was good is after he beat me for the sacks, he told me what I was doing wrong. And I was like, you happy with that?
Like, is that what you want?
That's what you want? You would have got to whoop your behind and then tell you what you could have done to avoid that whooping? Nah, man, I'm good. I couldn't believe he said that, man. I was just like, what?
Yeah, it's like we all have to remind ourselves every once in a while of, you know, we complain about the offensive line situation, and there's definitely things the Titans could have done to make this better heading into this year. But man, it could be so much worse. It could be so much worse. And we've seen it be so much worse over the last few years. That is so funny. I feel like you've told me that before, but I forgot about it. He was telling me what I was doing wrong. Oh, mercy. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We've got one more hour with TD here on the program. So anything you've got for him, get it in on our phone and text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Coming up in the final hour, we've talked about breakout players for the Titans, guys that you think could take a big step. Is there anybody who could be set up for a disappointing season? We'll talk about that coming up next. Also, the final top 10 list from ESPN is out. It's the safeties, and Amani Hooker's name is in the article. We will get into that coming up in the final hour of the show. 615-737-1025. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker Kelly. Next man up, 1025 The Game. Next man up, 1025 The Game. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker Kelly with you. Final hour on this TD Thursday. TD jamming out to Enter Sandman.
Hey, man.
It's
that's that hype music.
It's ACC Media Days today. James Franklin was just at the podium, so new era for
He
Virginia
said they
Tech.
won the offseason.
I did see
which
that.
I do
Yeah.
believe they did.
Yeah, I mean, overall, pretty good offseason. for the
So I'm
Hokies.
trying to coin this phrase. The quarterback, Ethan Grunkemeyer. Let's get grunky.
Let's get
Grunky.
Let's get grunky.
I like it.
I'm trying to coin it.
I will try. I think I'm going to one game this year. I'll start the chant. Let's get grunky.
Let's print some T-shirts.
There,
too, and
yeah,
sell
there
them.
we go. There we go. We are broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Final hour with TD. We've talked a lot about breakout players who could have a huge 2026 and step into being a key player for this team, a cornerstone, a superstar. Is there anybody, TD, that stands out to you that maybe is getting a lot of attention that maybe could be set up for a disappointing season in 2026?
I would say J.C. Latham.
Yeah.
That's the name that continues to be the one for me, just because, look, this is as close to make or break as you could get, and he's someone that was a high draft pick. He's uber talented. He dealt with something to keep him out of OTAs and mini camp. There's a lot of hopes for him.
Yeah.
If it doesn't go right, yeah, that's somebody that could be, viewed as disappointing.
Yeah, I think with J.C. Latham, it could go one way or the other. Either at the end of the year, you're looking and you're saying, all right, he solidified it. He's the right tackle of the future. But yeah, you could also end up looking for his replacement next year, which would be a disaster because you probably need to find a left tackle replacement as well for Dan Moore. I also think you mentioned missing some time in the offseason. Femi Oladejo, right? Like, not that the expectations are super high coming off a season where he had no sacks and only played in 6 games. But I think there, in a lot of people's minds, including my own, I think there's in the back of your mind, maybe he does figure it out. But I also think there's a decent chance that we're looking back and saying, man, that's the first really big bust that Mike Borgonzi has picked in his tenure here.
Yeah, I think, you still got to continue to get that thing some time. You know what I mean? Because he's someone that obviously you have high expectations as a second-round pick, but it's a continuous development process. Like he's converting. Now, the thing that I do like about this, and it's something, ironically, I was just talking to Derek Morgan, former Titan, about that. We got a story coming out on Protocol, but I was talking to him about this, and he was saying how, once they went to the 3-4 when Vrabel got here, he had to, start worrying about dropping back and all this other stuff as opposed to just rushing the passer.
Yeah.
Fortunately for Femi, it's the reverse, right? With Salah coming here,
right?
Cotton and them, it's like, hey, just go sick him, go get it, go get it, see ball and get the ball. You know what I mean? And I think that's something that's gonna it could set up, for him to be able to have some success. It's just he got to stay healthy. That's why he's going to a place like Protocol. The hamstring is something that as Kaharski reported, is something that kind of kept him out of being able to take part in minicamp and OTAs. But I mean, I saw him, a couple times standing over there, with his shirt off. He's still in good shape. You could say that. He's still, as Robert Saleh said, a guy. You want to go ahead, you get off the bus first. Go ahead.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
No, he was built in a lab, like carved from stone. I remember the first pictures of him at like rookie minicamp last year. I was like, all right, I see it. I see why Mike Borgonzi thought this guy was a good project to take on.
And then shout out Femi. He got married a couple weeks ago.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
And I have no idea what Femi Oladejo is going to look like this year. We only saw him for 6 games. And again, this is he's moving into this 4-3 where you're right. He's going to have less on his plate. It's just go get the quarterback. But you do need to start seeing some production. It's not like this is a 6th round pick. This isn't Jalen Harrell, who
Right.
Jalen Harrell had 5.5 sacks last year.
I think he still makes the roster.
I
Jalen
think so,
Harrell
too.
is nice, man. I
think
like Jalen Harrell.
If you're looking at your 5 edge rushers, Jermaine Johnson, Jake Martin, Femi, Keldrick Falk, and Jalen Harrell, is that the 5 that you think probably make the roster?
Yeah.
And then on the
you mentioned Jacob Martin, right?
Yeah, Jacob Martin, and then on the interior it would be Simmons, JFM, Elliott, Thomas, and Jackie Marshall. Like that's your 10 defensive linemen if you're keeping 10. I think it's a good group. And but I just think with Femi, it can't be the unblocked plays that he made last year, right? Like that's the only times we saw him flash was they kind of slid the protection to the left and he made a nice play. Like he affected the quarterback or he made a tackle for loss. He's got to start beating guys. And we talked about it earlier this offseason. The reports that Javon Curse was going to come out, Terry McCormick reporting that Javon Curse was going to come out and work with Femi Oladejo. It's not a 2-year contract when you're drafted in the second round, it's 4 years, but by the end of year 2, I think you've got to start seeing that he's going to be a player for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to see. The thing I do like about it is if there's anyone set up to help this man is White Cotton and Robert Saleh.
Yeah.
And Tanzil Smart.
Right.
Now, I know I've said it a couple times, but they got a little corner over there. It used to be Callahan's corner, Bill Callahan with all this stuff.
Yeah.
That's where
that's the White Cotton corner now.
It's White Cotton and Tanzil Smart. They got all kinds of devices. The tennis balls. They got the like this weighted medicine ball.
Yeah.
They got all kinds of stuff, man. And they're going to work to get these guys getting right. And I love the pre-practice work that Tanzil Smart has done with Keldrick Falk and Jackie Marshall.
Yeah.
Jackie Marshall. And then seeing Jacob Martin come over and help with it's going to be fun watching that whole thing develop.
Speaking of the edge rushers, there's one guy that I think we may have too high of expectations for, Jermaine Johnson. I think you bring him in knowing that he's been in the Saleh system. He's had success in the Saleh system.
Right.
We've talked about the bounce back the second year after the Achilles injury. Usually that's when the guys get back closer to what they were before. But I do think we're, as a media, Titans fans, I think you're looking saying that's going to be your top edge rusher. He's got to go prove it again. He's only had one season where he's had more than 7 sacks.
Yeah, it's not safe to just assume that. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. One season where it's more than had 7. Jacob Martin had 6.5.
Right.
You know,
Jalen Harrell had 5.5.
Had 5.5.
Yeah.
So
like, you need to see Jermaine Johnson go out and prove it.
Exactly. You need to see him go out and prove it. Now, the good thing is he's another year removed from that Achilles. It typically takes 1 to 2 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why with Cushenberry, it's like that. The dude's fresh off an Achilles. But anyway, I think when you look at this whole situation, they have a nice group of guys.
Yeah.
We'll see who emerges as the top one. But even if you have 5 guys that could score 15 to 20, that's okay. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're just going to keep them fresh and going, and you're going to get sacks by accumulation as opposed to that one guy. So it's – and the other thing with that, right, now, don't get me wrong. If I was a coordinator, I want a Brian Burns. I want a Myles Garrett. Like, I want that.
Yeah.
But here's what happens. If you don't have something on the other side of that, guess what? Everything is always sliding and they're double teamed. And,
right.
When you have that situation, who's going to step up out? You have to be a truly elite guy to consistently overcome that.
Yeah.
Right. So you got the balance. It's like, well, I can't slide to the right because, it's not worth sliding to the right.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because, and I think that's a better situation.
No, 100%. And I do like the process here of how Mike Borgonzi and Robert Saleh have built this defensive line. I think you've got waves of guys that you should feel confident are going to be able to get to the passer. But all of the edge rushers, none of them are 10-sack guys. None of them have ever had 10 sacks in their career. And I know like Femi and Keldrick Falk have played a combined 6 games in the NFL. So I'm not trying to say they should be at this point. But none of those guys, I think you like the potential. Somebody's got to live up to the potential.
Yeah.
Whether it's Johnson, Falk, Femi. I know you really like Jacob Martin as a guy coming in here who could thrive in this system. You need at least 2 of those guys to be 8-sack guys.
Yeah.
And maybe somebody gets to 10. But that Jermaine Johnson came to mind when I was thinking about this. Not that I think he's going to be a disappointment, but I think there are a lot of people who are just marking him in as, all right, that's a guy who's going to get you 7 to 8 sacks. Well, he's only done it once.
Yeah, like it's automatic. It's not automatic.
Right.
And a lot of times they look and they say, hey, he was a Pro Bowler. And I get it, but
right.
Snoop
Huntley.
Snoop Huntley was an all-star too.
Right.
A Pro Bowler.
So he had 7.5 sacks in 2023, then tore the Achilles in 24 here. And then in 2025, he had, I think, 3 sacks last year. So getting him back in the solid system, being another year removed from the injury, great. We got to see it on the field. That's a guy that maybe could be disappointing based on the expectations that fans might have. Lenny on the text line says, we have a real problem drafting players in the first round, don't we? Maybe this is a topic for next week of just stacking up the Titans' first round misses against the rest of the league, because I struggle to believe there's another organization that has been as bad in the first round as the Titans have over the last 10 years.
Yeah. I mean, we said it, Simmons was the first round pick to be re-signed in
4 years.
Some years, it's been longer than that.
Well, yeah, 2023 was Skoronski, 2019 was Simmons. So those were good first round picks.
Right, but I'm saying to sign a second contract.
Yeah, it's been just Skoronski and Simmons. When Skoronski signs the
right,
contract.
so that's what I'm saying. Simmons was picked in 2019.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
It goes back to Taylor Lewan.
Yeah, Rashaan Evans didn't. Corey Davis, Adoree Jackson, Jack Conklin, even though he probably should have.
Yeah.
Marcus Mariota. Yeah, Lewan in 14 was the last one to get a second contract. So let's go all the way back. Since Derek Morgan, who we were just talking about in 2010. So Derek Morgan got a second contract with the Titans. You have signed 2 of your first round picks to second contracts, and that not including Skoronski. So it'll be 3 soon. But yeah, that's horrendous. So you've got 4 sitting on your roster right now that you're not sure about. Latham, Ward, Tate, Falk. 3 of those guys have to get second contracts, right? Like, you can't continue to whiff on those top picks like you have over the past decade and a half, really. 615-737-1025 is the phone number if you want to text or call our phone lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We'll continue this conversation coming up next. We'll get into the top 10 safeties in the league. Also, Stephon Diggs says there's no wide receiver 2 better than him in the NFL. We'll talk about where Stephon Diggs might end up before training camp. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker Kelly. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker Kelly. Stream, man, the stream didn't get that. We might have to have you do it again. Get the dance going.
You get the WAP just one time. That's it. That's an old school dance, man. The WAP.
The WAP.
You hit it like this. Yeah.
Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Turron Davenport in studio. Parker Kelly at the controls. TD been with us for the full show. Always presented by Bart Durham Injury Law. We got a few more segments with him. We're having the conversation around Titans who could be set up for disappointing seasons. We talked about some of the defensive linemen. I also wanted to bring up the free agent cornerbacks because we've seen this before. 2 years ago, Titans trade for L'Jarius Sneed, sign Chidobe Awuzie, and you're looking at the cornerback room and saying that's a strength. That is a good spot for the Titans cornerback room to be in. And I think everybody is kind of in the same spot right now. I like Alontae Taylor. We all wanted Alontae Taylor to be a Titan. They go out and get him. Then they go sign Cordell Flott as well, who is an ascending player, had his best season as a pro with the Giants last year. There's reasons to be excited for what those guys can do, but also I think maybe you're expecting a lot from two guys who both have not been top of the line cornerbacks during their career so far.
Yeah, and I think that's really what it's going to come down to, finding a way to get that secondary right, because that's going to help the pass rush and vice versa.
Right.
So it's going to be cool just seeing how those things bounce off of each other.
Yeah, I do think that the way the defense is set up it's in a much better spot than it was 2 years ago. You've given Jeffrey Simmons a lot of help. I saw a quick tangent here about the defensive line. We had Nick Suss on Tuesday, and he found the stat that even though Robert Saleh uses his star players less in the game, they're actually getting better opportunities to affect the quarterback. Quinnen Williams played, I want to say, close to 100 less snaps in 2023 than Jeffrey Simmons did last year. But Quinnen Williams played 40 more snaps in third down pass situations than Jeffrey Simmons did last year.
Yeah,
so you're using him in better ways.
Right, it's just streamlining. That's all. But, I mean, it's just tough for me because, when I look at a guy like Jeffrey Simmons, that's so good about getting in the backfield. Like, how many times do you see him on first down? Boom, swim move, club swim, boom, in the backfield, tackle the running back,
right?
4 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and now it's 2nd and 14.
Yeah.
So.
But it was jarring to me to see in that stat that good save.
Right.
You almost had coffee all over you. Good. You kept it in. This stat that Nick Suss had showed that Jeffrey Simmons only played 80% of third down pass snaps last year, which you would have thought he would have been there 100% of the time. And so I am excited that he's going to be out there with an opportunity to stop drives. Third down and 6+, that he's going to be out there 95% of the time. But you're right. It is going to take some adjustments of, like, if the Titans get gashed for an 8-yard run on 1st and 10, you're like, man, would have really liked to have Jeffrey Simmons on the field for that.
And it's going to come down to that quality versus quantity thing. But, the thing that I do like is that they found a way. I forgot about Jordan Elliott.
Right.
Jordan Elliott is damn good against
Yeah, he's a good player.
Solomon Thomas is solid, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you could always bump Franklin Marshall inside. You could bump Keldrick Falk inside as well, which they said that they're going to do.
Yeah.
And I think, because the whole, Keldrick Falk, Eric Armstead, Eric Armstead has played inside out. And it just is different when you have a guy like him. And they did it with Arden Key as well. I was talking about this on Talking with TD. They did these types of things with Arden Key as well, because it's the length getting on that tackle. I mean, that guard rather. It's different than the little shorter guy, the Tanzel Smarts is getting up on you. Like, it's different.
Yeah. And I've said this offseason, I think the one thing I'm confident in is the Titans are going to be good against the run this year, because you do have those waves on the interior. You have Simmons, you have Elliott, you have Thomas, who are all good against the run. Then you have the tweeners who can play inside out with Franklin Myers and Keldrick Falk. You've also got Jermaine Johnson, who's proven to be good against the run on the edge. So I do think that's going to be a strength of this team. But the question is, how is Robert Saleh going to rotate those guys? How often is Jeffrey Simmons going to be on the field on 1st and 2nd down? And yes, you're going to give yourself more opportunities for him to go attack the pass as a pass rusher on 3rd and long. But can you get them into 3rd and long without him on the field? Like it does go hand in hand.
That's my whole point. And I think you can, but I mean, it's just I get it. It's just taking a very measured quality versus quantity
Right.
perspective.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And in addition to probably playing more 3rd downs, he's going to be fresher on those 3rd downs. You know, so and also, you know, like I said last week, I like the fact that it's challenging Jeffrey Simmons. It's like, hey man, I don't think you could do it, so you're not going to. And Jeff was like, hey, wait a minute, hold on now. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be a good back and forth.
No, I'm excited for that part of the defense, especially to see what the defensive line looks like, because they've built a deep and talented defensive line. That's clearly the strength of this Titans roster. But back to the secondary, Dustin Hopkinsville says the reason we're excited is because there's not a bunch of liabilities on defense. We had pizza boys doing okay. Now we have NFL players. And for sure, you needed to go add starting level players in the secondary with Alontae Taylor and Cordell Flott. I just worry that you're getting yourself into that Snead Awuzie mindset from 2 years ago where it's like, oh, cornerback's going to be great. And those guys may not live up to those expectations as much as you would have hoped.
Yeah, they may not live up to them. I do think that just having Alontae Taylor on the boundary is going to be fun to watch.
Yeah.
It's going to, because, you know, he's going to get some action. And if he could improve his play on the ball, you know, that will really and turn the ball over, you know, that's going to be good. But I like the fact that he's going to be playing on the boundary. He's such an aggressive corner. I'm telling you, there's some signings to be excited about, but I think that's probably my favorite signing.
The Taylor one.
I love corners like him. I love corners like him, those aggressive ones that jump on the receivers, you know, play with a lot of emotion, will come up and whap you. You know what I mean, against the run. He's going to be fun to watch. Now, Flott's going to be on the field side, so we'll see how that works. You know what I mean? But, you know, it's going to be exciting watching the secondary for sure. And I can't not mention Kevin Winston.
Yeah.
Kevin Winston Jr. is going to be the one for me to – I'm not going to do that. But he's as far as just size and skill, not as good cover-wise. But, you know, he's got that package like, you know, the Derwin James and like the Kyle Hamiltons that could play in the box, be a nickel, you know what I mean? But the one thing, he's got to get more comfortable in zone. But having Marquand Manuel, who I think is it's hard to say it, but he's not the best secondary coach I've seen. But he's
up there.
Yeah, the best was actually his son is a part of the Titan staff now. Ed Donahue.
Yeah,
that's the best secondary coach I've seen. But I mean, Marquand Manuel is I've been really impressed. You know, Tony Oden's really good as well, but I've been really impressed with Manuel.
You know who I miss? Kerry Coombs.
The honey bed.
My man catch no balls.
The Badger. Yeah. The guy, man, he would do 1,000,000 push-ups and sit-ups. He'd be like, good Lord. Coach Coombs. All black coffee.
Yeah.
Just like you said.
You've told that story before. Yeah. I love the Kerry Coombs years here. Was it 1 year, 2 years that he was here?
Two.
Yep. Yeah. And then he was the DC at Ohio State. No, with Taylor and Flott, they easily could meet expectations and be better. Those are guys that I think the Titans signed because they're ascending players, right?
Yeah.
Taylor had his best year with the Saints. Flott had his best year with the Giants, and you're hoping they build off that. I think it might be the PTSD from 2 years ago where it's like, oh, they fixed the cornerback room, and then it was still horrible.
It was still horrible. You know, Taylor, honorable mention, you know, on the or like he was in the others.
Yeah, he got votes. Yeah.
On the top 10, which was cool for him.
Yeah, and Amani Hooker got votes today. We can talk about the top 10 safeties coming up next. You actually just mentioned the top 2 when comparing him to Kevin Winston. So there you go. Kyle Hamilton 1, Derwin James 2. We'll talk about that list coming up next. We'll also get into Stephon Diggs as he looks for a new team and much more to wrap up the show here on this Thursday. Jake Lyman, Turron Davenport, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker, Kelly with you. We got 2 more segments left on this TD Thursday. So last call if you got any questions for TD. Great interaction during Talk to TD earlier, but we'll take anything you've got to wrap up the show on our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. It is the final day of the top 10 position rankings list. It goes by so fast here during list season, and I'm glad it's over because that means we are another week closer to training camp. Again, rookies report in a week, and first practice is about 2 weeks away. So we are getting close.
It's going down.
Top safeties in the league came out today. Kyle Hamilton, number 1. Defended his title. He was number 1 last year at just the age of 25. He has been unbelievable with the Ravens. Derwin James, number 2 with the Chargers. Xavier McKinney, 3. Brian Branch, 4. Jesse Bates, 5. Here's one. Nick Emanwari, 6. His highest ranking was 6. Some people left him unranked, so no one had him in the top 5, but it seems like pretty widespread around the league that they like him as a player, even though maybe not as one of the top guys in the league quite yet.
I saw Quandre Diggs was like, man, whoever's seeing these votes, they need to put their name on it because he was upset that Emanwari was that low. But look, man, he's an outstanding player. I think, this safety group, and I love it because I really appreciate when any position is getting that notoriety after not getting it. And remember, the safety was like so discounted for quite some time, but now you have your Kyle. Because remember, Kyle Hamilton, although he was one of the best prospects that year, he dropped.
Yep.
Because like, oh, well, you don't
he's
draft
a
a
safety.
safety.
Yep.
Look at what they're talking about with Caleb Downs. Oh, he's a really good player, but you don't draft a safety. No, these guys could have a huge impact. And I think Derwin James, and I'm so glad that he's been healthy after those 2 years that he had all those issues, you know what I mean? But you see his presence, you see Hamilton. I think, you look at Brian Branch too. I mean, that's a really good player.
Another guy who fell because he's just a safety.
And you talk about turning the football over, Xavier McKinney, right? The Giants say, we don't like having good players, so we're going to let Saquon and McKinney go. And look what happened. You know what I mean?
And Emanwari is an interesting one specifically around here, and you're going to get all the comparisons because he was taken with the pick the Titans traded to go back and get Femi Oladejo and Kevin Winston. So you've talked about Kevin Winston possibly taking a step forward this year. People, not that the Titans, if they stuck and picked, would have taken Emanwari. We have no idea who was at the top of their board at that point. Luther Burden was still on the board at that point too, so there were options.
They weren't taken. There were a lot of questions.
He was my draft crush.
Yeah, mine too. I
wanted Luther Burden.
There were a lot of questions of whether or not he could take coaching hard. There were questions about his love for football.
Right.
He had a female issue too that was kind of in the way too.
Yeah, so. No, I got that. That's why he fell. He was a first round talent, but he fell out of the first round because of some of that stuff. So we don't know what the Titans would have done at 33 had they stuck and picked, or was it 35? Somewhere in there.
30, yeah.
Somewhere in the early second round. They trade back. The Seahawks come up. They take Emanwari. So you'd love to see Kevin Winston take a step this year. Doesn't mean he has to be one of the top 10 safeties in the league next year, but you'd like to see him start to look like the player that they were talking up as a first-round pick had he been healthy last year.
Without a doubt. You would love to see that. And, I mean, that just changes so much in the secondary. And when you have two guys that are interchangeable, it really helps. And I think the only way Winston is going to be interchangeable, it's an absolute must. Like, he has to get better and more comfortable in the zone. Because you saw it last year. There were 3 or 4 plays. You look at Smith and Jigba, his couple plays. They were able to, and that was great play design by Kubiak. Going to get the young rookie.
Attack the rookie
in a bad situation, and he had to make a choice, and he ended up coming down, and the post was over top, and we know what happened.
Yeah. So Winston, big year coming up. We talked about Femi a couple segments ago. Moving down through the list, Antoine Winfield Jr., number 7.
Still really good.
Really good player with the Buccaneers. Buda Baker at age 30. Still number 8.
Going.
Somebody had him ranked at 2. 9 years into the league. He is Buda Baker was so much fun to watch in his prime and still a very good player. But like 2020, 2021, Buda Baker That was really good football that
Man,
he was playing.
really good football. You know, remember when DK Metcalf hauled him down?
Yes,
That was crazy.
That
But yeah,
was
really good football to watch. He was fun to watch in college. You know, it was him,
Yeah,
Sidney Jones, and Kevin King. And,
right.
you know, he was like the third wheel of that, but he's been
Yeah,
the
at
best
Washington.
player. Hate to see Sidney Jones have that Achilles.
I know.
It never worked for him.
I know. Was he with the Eagles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Eagles ended up drafting him. He
Yeah.
was there the Super Bowl year. You know what I mean?
Right. Kirby Joseph, number 9. So the Lions
Nice.
have both their safeties in the top 9. Kalen Bullock with the Texans. I mean, this Texans defense is just absolutely loaded.
Mhm. You saw Jalen Petrie got an honorable mention.
Yeah, Petrie,
That little
honorable
joker, I loved him at Baylor.
all 4 of their starting secondary guys, like obviously, you know, they're going to play a lot of nickel, but all 4 of their base guys in the secondary are in the top 11 at
Mhm.
their respective positions.
Hey, they're good players, man.
And
Really good
that doesn't
players.
even start with their defensive line that has 2 of the top 6 pass rushers in the league as voted on. And Azeez Al-Shire in the
Yeah,
middle.
I
Like,
was about to say
that
Azeez,
defense is-
give Azeez his props.
if CJ Stroud can just be fine this year, just don't hurt the team, they could go win the Super Bowl. They could.
They should be contenders, man.
That defense is so good. Going through, was looking to see if there were any Titans, and Amani Hooker does sneak in there. He was one of, if I can do math in my head, 15, like 25 guys to get votes as a top 10 safety. So Amani Hooker coming off a down year, but
Yeah, his tackling, you know, there were a couple big runs where it's like, your angles were bad.
yeah, I always thought he was just a step late on everything. It's like he wasn't a big playmaker. We saw early in his career, he was a playmaker next to Kevin Byard. When they had better cornerbacks around him, he could go out there and hunt and make plays on the ball. He felt like he was a step late this year. We'll see. Maybe with better cornerbacks, a better defensive line, maybe he can have a bounce back year in 2026, but did receive votes as one of the best safeties in the league. Kevin Byard was 18th on this list. Led the league in picks last year, maybe a little bit low.
Yeah, it's that's a little crazy. They forgot about KB, man.
Age, I think, has something to do with it. Like, I think it's not, but this shouldn't be an exercise of who are you taking for the next 5 years.
Right.
Who would you take for 2026?
Right now, yeah. And it's hard to tell me that there's 17 safeties better than Kevin Byard.
Right. I mean, you look there, a lot of the older guys kind of fell into the others receiving votes. Jalen Ramsey's in there.
And of course, Jaden Ramsey's a convert, though.
Right.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
He's former cornerback, of course. So that's the final list of the top 10. And if we go back through the Titans, they have 2 top 10 players at their position. Jeffrey Simmons was the number 2 defensive tackle. Peter Skoronski, the number 9 interior offensive lineman. And then Alontae Taylor and Amani Hooker both received votes, but were not included in the top 10. But that's it. It's 4 players who even received a single vote to be in the top 10 at their position. I mean, I don't know if we can put a number on how many you'd want to see in there next year, but you'd like to see more than that as your roster continues to grow, because 2 is not good enough for a team that's trying to
want to
build.
see more than that. You know, let's look at it. Who do you think could elevate to that? I think
Let's see.
Alontae Taylor.
Yeah, I mean, Alontae Taylor, he received votes this year, so another good year. Maybe he steps in there. I think I look at the inside linebackers. Like Cedric Gray, I was a little surprised he didn't receive any votes given the year that
Gray
he
is one I
had.
can see elevate. It's coverage with him,
Right.
too, though,
And you might look and say the rest of the team was so bad that he just kind of cleaned up with tackles here and there. But
you know what though? He was consistently first to the football.
right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? So I get it. The rest of the team may have looked bad, but he was first to the football all the time.
I'm excited to see what he does with a better defensive line in front of him and, you know, a better running mate, whether Cody Barton may be in a more natural fit for his position. You've got Anthony Hill now once he gets accustomed to the NFL. So I'm trying to think of anybody else. We talked about John Franklin Myers. Like, I was a little surprised he didn't get any votes, but I think it's just because he doesn't really have – he's not an edge. He's not a true defensive tackle. So people didn't know where to put him.
Autry, you know?
Right. Like, I don't think Cam Ward's going to be top 10. Maybe if he has a big year, maybe he gets a vote or 2. Carnell Tate, probably not. We saw Tet McMillan was rookie of the year and he didn't get a single vote for top 10 wide receivers. So I would guess Tate's not going to be in there. There's not really anybody that I think is a year away from being a top 10 guy, but there are a lot of guys that you hope are 2 years away from being one of those guys.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys you hope to be that could be close. But yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody's a year away, and it just kind of is what it is, and this team will just continuously, if everything goes right, they'll continuously get better. I think there's a lot to be excited for.
Yeah.
They desperately need some type of positive energy. You see this coaching staff, that's what they bring. So that's good from that perspective.
615-737-1025 is the phone number. We've got one more segment left on this TD Thursday. If you want to text or call anything for TD, we'll get to it coming up next, plus much more. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, and Parker Kelly. Next man up, 1025 The Game.
Oh, that's hard to my hard agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was like, it's going to be so easy once you get it.
You start taking the easy stuff. Take this one.
Highest quality windows and doors, the most trusted brand, and they improve the value of your home over all the others. So go with the experts at Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. Visit PellaNashville.com for more information.
In a world where human interaction seems to be reduced to chats, clicks, and emails, where transactions are measured only by speed, where corporate policies overrule common sense, sometimes you just want to go old school. Welcome to Genesis Diamonds, a refreshing experience where personal relationships and authentic interaction are the norm, not the exception. At Genesis, you're here celebrating something awesome in your life, and we want to know all about it. We want to hear your story, listen to your requests, and be a meaningful part of whatever occasion this is. A proposal, an anniversary, a birthday, graduation, push gift, sweet 16. If it's important to you, it's important to us. So we don't care how long it takes. We're not paid on commission, and we're not beholden to some corporate rule book. We just want to help you get what you want to make it into a special memory. So take a break from modern shopping and go old school with us at Genesis. Let's start a real relationship.
What do you think of this Matt Miller stuff, man?
Genesis Diamonds.
Yeah. Did you see the video?
Yeah, where it swerved in. Yeah, on the truck.
Double yellow.
I didn't know that he was robbing people like that, man.
Yeah.
It's weird. I always got a, hey, what's up, man? I don't know about you kind of vibe. You know what I mean? Like that's how I always was with him. But yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was like basically people had to threaten to go to ESPN public with it if he didn't pay them, and then he'd finally do it. But
yeah, I don't think he's gonna be with the company.
Yeah, and well, it sucks. Like, I mean, he lost his arm. Like, it should be a time that people are rallying around him, but it doesn't seem like he's very. It's honestly made it worse.
Bless you. Well, even in that.
Oh, Next man up, 1025 The Game. Jake Lyman, Turron, Davenport, Parker Kelly. Appreciate all the texters letting us know.
Any other? Whatever.
Oops. Let's wrap up the show here on this TD Thursday. I want to get your thoughts on the Stephon Diggs situation because he's still out there in free agency and obviously still a very talented receiver, even at his age. But he came out and said there's no wide receiver 2 better than him. And I don't think that's true. I think that there are plenty of wide receiver twos.
T. Higgins?
T. Higgins. I mean, again, you may be saying, oh, these guys are wide receiver twos just because they play with Jamar Chase or George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. But I would put Stephon Diggs as probably a mid-class wide receiver too. Do you think that there's any team out there that stands out as somebody who might want to bring him into their building as a missing piece that they could add to the offense?
I think Atlanta would be cool. That would be a good option. Not a missing piece as much as just a compliment to Drake London. Let's see. Tampa, they're in good shape, even though they lost Mike Evans. Atlanta is the one that sticks out, but as we circle through, Miami wouldn't be bad.
Yeah, well, yeah. Look at like Miami's their depth chart at wide receiver is hilarious. We a team we were talking about, the Chiefs, like outside of Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy, there's not a lot there. That could be a place he could want to go if he wants to go compete for a championship. Let's see. The Dolphins depth chart at wide receiver. Malik Washington, Jalen Tolbert, Tutu Atwell are their top 3 wide receivers.
Yeah. Oh, damn. They got Tutu Atwell, huh? From the Rams.
It's just like, dude.
You said Miami, right?
Yeah, that's the Dolphins.
Well, they got Chris Bell. They drafted
Chris Bell and Caleb Douglas from Texas Tech. So they do have some draft picks in there. But, yeah, I mean, I don't think the Dolphins would be a spot. I mean, maybe he wants to live in Miami, but if he's looking for a chance to go
Stephon Diggs in Miami,
there's lots of boats out there.
That's what I'm saying, man.
He could find some recreational activities out on the water.
Fun, huh?
You know who might make sense is Washington, because there's been all the smoke around Brandon Ayuk, but Brandon Ayuk is digging his own grave with this situation. And maybe it makes more sense to go get Stephon Diggs, a guy who grew up in the DMV, went to Maryland. Like that could end up being a good connection there.
Why not Baltimore for that matter?
Right. That's true. What does Baltimore's depth chart look like beyond Zay Flowers?
My man from Minnesota, Rashad
Bateman.
Rashad Bateman.
Yeah, but then it's Tez Walker. They drafted Jacoby Lane. They drafted Elijah Surratt. Like there's players there, but I think Diggs in Baltimore can make sense. As
Jacoby Lane's nice too. Vegas with the Raiders.
Right.
I mean,
there's options out there.
Teams, yeah.
And there's other stuff going on with him. I guess he just got sued or something like that. I don't know. Like maybe there's some legal stuff that they're trying to work on, but I would guess he's kind of like we talked about with Aaron Donald. There's no reason that he needs to be in training camp the entire time. I would say this is probably more like a mid-August signing or something like that. Yeah, I think that's somebody's going to sign Diggs. I think he wants to go where he can be the missing piece. I do think that the 2 DMV teams make a whole lot of sense, Baltimore and Washington, because those are teams that feel like they're going to compete for the playoffs this year. They've got good young quarterbacks. And they're missing a veteran presence in that receiver room.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Washington has Terry McLaurin, but
I think Debo's still there, but I mean, they could use.
I want to say Debo's a free agent still.
Oh, he is. Yeah, he is actually. He is. So yeah, they could use.
So like he could either be the Debo replacement in Washington, or he could be the DeAndre Hopkins replacement in Baltimore. Yes. Yeah. Debo Samuel not on that roster. 3337 asks, my buddy is a Dolphins fan. He was asking me if they were better off with Malik Willis or Tua. What do you think?
I think you kind of know what you have with Tua. I would say better off with Malik because I think Malik's going to play well. I know people are saying that quarterback situation is bad there and they're going to draft I think Malik's going to play well.
Yeah, I think at that price point, Malik Willis is better. Like you're with what you were paying Tua and the results you were getting back. I'd rather have Malik Willis, who, like you said, I think there's more room to grow for Malik Willis, and also for the Dolphins. Like I think they're going to be in the market to draft a quarterback soon.
Yeah, and I mean, remember he has Bobby Slowick as the OC,
right?
You know what I mean. So they found some things to do with C.J. Stroud. So yeah.
I mean, I think. I think Malik Willis is the right move for the Dolphins right now, and it's a shorter term deal. It's not super big money, so that allows you to, if you need to move on and go find a young quarterback next year, it gives you the option to do
Yeah, exactly.
Let's wrap up. We got a couple more minutes with this World Cup final. Who you got on Sunday? Spain, Argentina.
I'm going Spain.
I think I've got to go Spain too. They've looked since that tie against Cape Verde to start off the World Cup. I think they've gotten better each game. They played great against France on Tuesday. I mean, that's the French looked like the best team in the tournament up until that game, and then Spain really dominated them. So yeah, I think I'm going to go Spain too. Parker, you no longer have a dog in the fight. Who you got?
You can't kill Argentina. Argentina just simply won't die.
I know.
I'm going to go Argentina.
You know, the only team to take both of these teams to the end of 90 minutes dead even. You know who it was? It was Cape Verde.
The Fighting Cape Verde.
Cape Verde. Draw with Spain,
that could.
And then they took Argentina to extra time. Do we give Cape Verde the third place trophy? You don't even need to have France and England play on Saturday down in Miami. Just Cape Verde, you are the third place winner in the World Cup.
Hey, I'm all for it.
I think it would be fun. 4312 texted in. This is a good point. We were talking about where Stephon Diggs could go. He said that the Rams don't have a lot beyond Puka and Devontae Adams.
I don't know that he would. Nah, I wouldn't put him there. I don't think you could have Stephon Diggs as a wide receiver 3. It won't work.
Yeah, he is a volume guy.
Yeah.
That is true. He's a guy who wants the ball in his hands.
A very emotional guy, too. He's going to express it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's like A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
And A.J. Brown, but past his prime. Stephon Diggs last year, still a really good season, right? He was a 1,000-yard receiver for the Patriots last year. 85 catches, 1,000 yards, only 4 touchdowns, but a good season for him. Somebody's going to pick him up, but you're going to have to deal with some baggage with Stephon Diggs.
I really want him to go to Baltimore. I think, you look at that personality of Lamar Jackson. I think he would be really, really nice there. And you got Derrick Henry, you know what I mean, that's going to attract loaded boxes. You're going to get one-on-one on the outside. Zay Flowers is the number 1 who got some honorable mention votes. Zay Flowers is really good. He this close to being here.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, very close to being here. Some things didn't happen the way that the Titans had wanted it to, but yeah, he was very close to being here.
Was that 2023? That was the 2023 draft.
Yeah.
Let's see.
There was a push to move back in to get him.
Okay. Yeah, so the Titans took Skoronski at 11, and then, Flowers was in that run from 20 through 23 where it was all wide receivers.
There was a push to get back in to get him.
I feel like we've talked about this 8 times this week, but I wish there was a push to get back in to get Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Yeah, well, he ended up going what?
20th.
Yeah.
He went 2 picks before Zay Flowers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
there was a push to later. I think it was like 26, I want to say. With Buffalo,
Buffalo drafted Kincaid 25th.
That's the number, 25.
Gotcha. Yeah. And then the Titans obviously did end up trading up in the second round to go get Will Levis the next night. So, Zay Flowers, very good receiver. I think you're right. He was honorable mention on that list. He was like 13, 14, somewhere in there. I don't know if I'd put him that high in the NFL.
That dude is dynamic.
He's really good. He's really good. I think, I would probably say 15 to 20 would be more where I put him, but it's about right. It's about right. That'll about wrap things up for us today. TD, always great having you in. We are 1 week closer, to training camp.
Closer, man.
I guess next week would be our last TD Thursday pre-training camp.
Yeah, I will see how the schedule works out, but
right. Yeah, we might have to move things around based on how Robert Saleh schedules his practices. So that'll be interesting. But great having you in. We'll do it again next week and keep getting closer to football season.
Closer and closer.
Tomorrow on the show, it'll be Nick Frazier and Connor Newt with us. So we'll have some fun on a Friday. Get ready for the World Cup final. We'll talk some college football. We'll talk some NFL, much more. We'll talk some Preds. The NHL schedule coming out today, so we'll react to that as well. All of that coming up 9 a.m. tomorrow. But coming up next, Chase and Big Joe live from the Omni Nashville here on 102.5 The Game.